Hi there. It's your second favorite DP right here, okay? No, that's Deadpool, you silly little Hufflepuff. Anyways, I'm gonna need you to shut up that pretty little mouth of yours and pay attention because the show's about to start, alright? And, I don't know about you, but I know who's my vote for sexiest ex-soldier turned pop culture show host. Alright, enough foreplay. Let's get on with the show.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome, one and all. Today is June 21st, 2022, and this is episode 101. We're in the triple digits, baby, of Pop Culture Warrior. It's the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture, so you don't have to. I am CQ. I am the Pop Culture Warrior, and with me, as always, is he's a special man, right? He swears that the opposite of Reverse Flash, or I'm sorry, Instead of Reverse Flash being the opposite of Flash, it should instead just be Stop. That's just silly. He's the man in the bubble. He's the voice of the unpop culture. Everyone, give it up for Mr. Radar!
Hey, everybody!
Woo woo! It's Tuesday night, baby.
Hi, Radar. Hi, Radar. Hey, CQ, what you doing, man?
Oh man, it's Tuesday night, brother. We are here. We are ready.
We are.
Excited. Oh goodness.
It's the 101st episode because, like, they're not legs. Can't talk about the episode 101.
Episode 101, baby.
Mm-hmm.
We are here. Oh my goodness. Come such a long way. Such a long way. I'm so excited. It's been a good night. It's been a good day. Let's see. Rewind the clock real quick. We just had Father's Day, man. How was your Father's Day? And while Radar answers, please, y'all in the chats, I already see you out there. Chris, I see who else? Marlene, hello from Missouri. Hello to you too. Heath, as always. All you guys out there. Joe, I see you. Let me know. Let me know in the chats. How was your Father's Day? Any good gifts? Any really shitty gifts? Any good activities? What about you, Radar?
Well, I got a new chicken coop.
Okay.
That was my gift, dude. I don't know what to tell you. It was a chicken coop. Because here's the deal. I was going to build a chicken coop, which takes me about a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And for like $300, we just bought a little one. We got one chicken who's kind of fucked up, so we need a little coop. Easier to buy one.
Yeah.
And then my parents came into town and we just hang out. I had pizza for dinner.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I got a coffee mug. I got a coffee mug that says Papa Bear. Loved it.
Nice.
I loved it. My old coffee mug actually just shit the bed cup like Amber Heard. Pulled an Amber Heard because it shit the bed.
Yeah, no.
Just came up with that on the spot. No, it broke a week or two ago, and so I got a new coffee mug, which I love. And my wife bought me $100 worth of scratch off tickets because
how much did you win? Out of $100?
$82.
Nice.
Which I think is actually incredibly generous because I think one of them won like $50. So that was incredibly lucky. We don't look at scratch off tickets as like investments. We look at it. It's just entertainment.
No, it's fun.
It's
but it's always kind
Yeah.
of a fun experiment for me.
Yeah.
When someone buys like even $100,
Yeah.
or $1,000 or whatever, and then how much do you get back out of that? I
Right.
wonder how often people actually come out ahead doing that.
Very rarely. Like had she bought me 3 tickets and that $50 one been one of them, I'd have came out way ahead. But yeah, that's just not the case. Rob, what's up, man? I see Rob says he got grill mittens. Congratulations, grill mittens.
Oh, I got those. The
You-
grill mittens.
the grill mittens. That's like a thing. It's not just
They're like the ones I
grill
got.
mittens?
They're like silicone. They look like oven mitts, but they're silicone.
no. Yeah.
And they're really, I don't know if I'd really want them on the grill. Like on the smoker, they're fine because stuff on the smoker only gets like 200 degrees.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but like actually pulling the shit out of like an actual, like a fire, I don't know about all that.
He says he went to vacation, went on vacation to Panama City Beach. Just got back an hour ago. And he's here with us. God bless you, Heath, man. You're a rock star.
Panama City. I used to go there when I was in Pensacola, when I was stationed in Pensacola.
Yeah. And real quick, I do got to give a huge shout out to our Patreon supporters out there. Y'all are the light of my life. You have my heart. I love you guys. They said Nick, Rob, Keith, Greg, Travis, Pete, Leon, Mark, Bethany, and King. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. Because of our generous Patreonage supporters, I'm going to be able to hire a badass editor who's going to be cutting together some really cool clips for the channel. Got this dude slated, and he's incredible. We met last week, and literally going to be doing some really cool stuff. Does graphic editing. We're going to have the new logo, not new logos, but like, you know me, I'm always messing around graphically, and when we do the which shout out to Mike Larson out there. Remember what I asked? I said, what would be a great name for that segment? You know, the like who eats this stuff segment. And I was like, man, I need a really something catchy, something slick for a segment. He came up with the name. Shout out Mike. Eat it or delete it. Right?
I don't hate that.
Right? I was like, okay.
It's
Okay.
not horrible.
I can get on board with that. Eat it or delete it. I
Yeah,
like that.
I've definitely heard worse things fall out of your mouth.
I'm not gonna comment.
You
So
should.
we'll get like a segment header for that, and guy's really great, and he's going to maybe we'll come up with some new, obviously we've been using this kind of template for the show. We've been using it for now, my God, almost 3 years. So some new stuff I'm very excited for. But yeah, so that's awesome. That's thanks. I mean, really solely thanks to the Patreon supporters out there. Lots to cover, man. Lots to cover.
Yes.
Between taking a week off and then doing our big 100. Actually, we took 2 weeks off, and then doing our big 100th episode celebration. So much to catch up on. Thoughts? Have you been watching Obi-Wan? Have you been watching Miss Marvel? Have you been watching The Boys?
I've been watching Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel. Okay.
I've been watching Miss Marvel.
Thoughts?
I like it.
Okay.
I do. I like it. It's kind of on the slow side, I feel.
But don't you feel like that is a common thing said about almost all of the Marvel properties so far, like on Disney Plus? Like, I think WandaVision, Loki, Captain America,
I think Loki didn't take very long to get into the action. Loki kind of was fast.
I think it's a little different only because that picked up like right out of Endgame too, though. Like that was like picking up.
They're
right
doing
after that action.
they're doing a great job of character development, but I do feel as though it's kind of very scattered. Does that make sense? I feel like they're.
I'm with you. It's different. It's not of the pace that we're used to. But remember, we're moving from movie theatrical 90-minute pacing to long format TV storytelling over 6+ hours. So I think that it lends itself towards, think about like 3-arc TV structure or writing structure. You have the first the third of it, right? The first third is building, and the third is the drop off, and the last third is the epic conclusion, the center. So I feel like those are if you look at 6 episodes, that's what it is. Right. 2 episodes of building the narrative, building the universe, 2 episodes of like, oh no, getting ourselves into trouble, and then 2 episodes of getting out of it and the triumphant, culmination.
But this one, it seems she seems to be getting in trouble from the very beginning. I mean, do you not feel
Kind
that?
of,
Kind of feels like she's struggling
kind
with her
of,
powers.
kind
She's
of.
struggling with trying to figure herself out in her place. And she was that was before she even got put on the gauntlet thingy. What the fuck's it called? The amulet? I don't know what it's called. The
Yeah,
bracelet.
yeah. Scott
But she was
says,
struggling. But she
sorry.
was struggling like every other teen. And I've got a whole house full of teenage girls. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Struggling to kind of find her place
You
and
are on
in
the
what's going on.
pulse. You're on the pulse of Miss Marvel. You're like
Yes.
Jesus. It's like another one in my house.
Well,
Um,
and it's not just, and she's struggling with her, religious identity. Everything about her
yeah,
she's struggling with, and which is
yeah.
kind of fun to. I mean, it's relatable.
She's in flux.
She is.
Just in a general sense of flux in her life, and I think
Yeah.
most teenagers at that time in their life are right.
Yeah.
Whether it's sexuality, whether it's religion, whether it's school hierarchy, whether it's what I'm going to do as an adult or in the future. Like I think that's part
Mhm.
of the. I have some teenagers in my life that I mentor and whatnot, and it seems to be a lot of the same. So let's see what Scott said. Last episode of Obi-Wan tonight. I'll be up to watch it. Man, God bless. Like that's.
Man,
I mean, hopefully you're on the West Coast because here on the East Coast, you got to be up to like 3 a.m. to watch a new episode. I'm like, I ain't about it.
What have you been following that much? You guys keep talking about it, and I keep going, oh, okay, whatever.
It's like Rob says, Obi-Wan better deliver tomorrow. It hasn't done it for me yet. There was a lot of hype for this series.
Yes.
And while I think what they've delivered is good, it's good storytelling. It's good filling in, that gap of, that timeline between the movies and things like that. I just think that they hyped it too much. They overhyped it. It was really Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen are coming back to do battle, and it's like they've had maybe like 2 scenes together in the whole series. So I mean, obviously he's playing Vader, and you see Vader a lot, but like kind of that chemistry between the two, which is that was the anticipation, right? It was the clashing of the lightsabers, and they were going to meet. That was the big thing. That was and I think that's what's disappointing a lot of people because it's
Right.
really not that. Miss Marvel, yeah, it's a little slow. I think it's going to pick up. I think for me, it's usually episode 3 and 4. That's where you kind of find out like, oh, this is what we're getting, or kind of like, if it's kind of hit or miss or whatnot. Typically,
Yeah.
episode 3 and 4 is where you kind of find your rhythm as a show.
Are we gonna get a villain?
That's a good question, and yes, in a way,
Okay.
not in the traditional sense. And I think that they're leaning in storytelling. They're leaning more towards that. Where it's hard to say exactly.
Because I mean, there like in every other series, there's kind of been allusions to a villain.
Right.
Which I mean, in this one, technically, when you think about it, when you think about the character development they're doing, and she's gonna have interaction with Captain Marvel by the end of it, one would assume.
Yeah, it's true.
So there doesn't really. I mean, you can just show this whole. You can take this. I mean, you can flip. Okay, remember you're talking about the thirds, right? You could just spend this whole 6 episode season just developing her as a character.
Sure.
And building her up as a character, showing her. I think in a way we did that with Iron Man.
Right.
In the way we did that with the first Thor movie. Kind of, I mean, Thor had his powers forever kind of deal. But I mean, a lot of the origin movies you're doing, Ant-Man, there you have these, they don't know they have these powers. They get these powers, and then they got to build up and figure out how to use them and how to adapt and everything like that. You could really dive into that. And really, I mean, they had like the one montage on the roof, but you could really kind of build into that and how having these powers can affect her in her family life. And I think, the mom's obviously not a fan of the dreaming and everything else.
Right.
And I think that this bracelet or amulet or whatever the fuck you want to call it, obviously when the grandma had it, caused some issues and caused some problems. Like maybe that's kind of more the duality of it, and how does she grow? And you don't even have to have a fight with a villain. You can have all those internal struggles and really build on those, and then Captain America shows up, or fucking Captain Marvel shows up and hey, I need you. You come with me.
Yeah.
Or Wong pops out of nowhere and
yeah.
they take her somewhere.
It's definitely interesting to see where they're gonna. I don't want to speculate too much because
I do. I want to speculate a lot.
Robin YouTube says the boyfriend and his mom, I think, will be the villains along with the damage control agents. I think he's right. I think it's gonna. So the boyfriend, the guy that she got in the car with at the last episode, and the mom, I think that is a relative of her. I think that's supposed to be, the whole story of like her great grandmother went missing. I think that's supposed to be her. Why is she like not super ancient or whatever? I think we're gonna find out. I think it has, maybe some sort of like culty kind of a thing. But I do think the damage control agents are gonna be that kind of antagonist, that they're not necessarily the villain, but they're definitely a force, a resistance force of like what our character is pushing against. So that, and then
dude, I think she's gonna be strolling along, okay, and fucking Wolverine's gonna come out and she's gonna have to like battle Wolverine because nobody knows about the mutants yet.
and then Mephisto shows up.
Fucking Mephisto.
Oh God, Mephisto. You know what's an interesting last thing I want to say about this, and then there's a lot of other topics I want to cover. An interesting thread that I've noticed in Phase 4 is people. How do I say this? You look at Wanda having to kind of square off in WandaVision against this witch, very much like her, and then Loki literally having to face off against himself. Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier, having to face off against this new Captain America, this new super soldier problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these series, they are having to face off against someone like themselves, a mirror version of themselves, maybe kind of like an evil version of themselves. It's like a twisted version of themselves. And so I wonder if, because the theme in this show, Ms. Marvel, is very family driven, is the sinister element going to literally be a member of her family? Is it this long lost great grandmother or whatever, and her views are this twisted reflection of where she sees like, oh, I can be, this powerful, creative, good, that's how the grandmother feels, but just that twisted version of it. That seems to be the through thread, the same thread that goes through a lot of these Disney show properties right now. I think that's where we're at in Phase 4 of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm gonna counter that.
Okay.
Because a lot of those have been evolutionary, right? They have been passing the torch in a way. WandaVision, not so much, but the other ones have been passing the torch from Loki to Sylvie.
Well, WandaVision too. I mean, considering the dark magic being passing of the torch, right?
Yeah.
It went from Hagatha,
from the cuckold or whatever that thing was called. Yeah.
Darkhold.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But
go ahead.
But I mean, I guess you could say that. But everything else, like like Hawkeye or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or all these other ones were evolutionary. It was kind of passing the torch from the old guard to the new guard.
Right.
We saw what we've been essentially seeing through all these Disney Plus shows is a change of command.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah.
I mean, really think about it.
It's the new generation. It's the next generation.
It's the next. This Phase 4 has been all about the new generation, and we've talked about. I don't know. Have we talked about on the air yet about the Thunderbolts has been confirmed?
Yeah, buddy, that's in my notes. I called that shit. I mean, how long
you did.
ago? How
you
long
did,
ago?
and we're kind of, we didn't know if they were going to go the West Coast Avengers route or the Thunderbolts
Secret Avengers, Dark Avengers, yeah,
however they want to call it. This has been building for a while.
And I gotta say, I'm surprised they went Thunderbolts, considering the whole.
Just died.
Yeah, the guy that plays Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU, William Hurt, just passed away, and I think he would have been very pivotal in that's why they called it the Thunderbolts. Like that was the whole point. So I'm
Now,
curious
but
to
hold
see what
on
they
though,
do.
because they could take this as you could have an MCU funeral for him
Mhm.
and
In his
have
honor, like they named the
yep,
team the Thunderbolts.
name it after him in his
Well,
honor. Like Val
possible.
is fucking working Valentina, whatever
Yeah.
Constantinople
Constant.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. All the
Can
lists.
be, kind of she was working for Thunderbolt Ross. He passed away. In his honor, we need to keep this up.
Or I mean, really, if you can go the route because okay, let's be honest, he's not the screen grab that let's say Black Panther is, where you have to like really change everything because the actor passed away. You can be like, oh yeah, he's over in the Pentagon and he assigned me to do this, and that's why we're naming the team Thunderbolts. You know what I mean? Like he could be alive in the
Yeah.
MCU without having to be
I
on
feel
screen.
like you had to have some sort of interaction, and maybe they already filmed it.
I don't. I've
They could have already filmed something
from
along
what
those
I've
lines
heard, they
too.
haven't even entered production on the series yet. They just announced the director, so but you never know.
You know what they should do?
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Should bring back Agent Coulson
Oh man, I love me some Clark Gregg. They should absolutely. I
and
mean,
have Clark Gregg be like
he should.
working for fucking Thunderbolt
He should
Ross.
absolutely. I mean, however they bring
That
it,
would be all right, in my opinion.
they should absolutely have him, in, regardless of how or why or when. They should absolutely have him on.
I love Clark Gregg.
Let me switch gears. Because I do have a bunch of headlines.
Good
I wanna
ideas
talk
like
about.
mine? Yeah, you do.
Totally. And we are expecting a special guest here in the second hour. I forgot to mention that. If you're a fan of the CW series, is the Arrowverse,
Yes.
you will absolutely know our guest tonight. He is the incredible guy playing the Reverse Flash in both The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. Matt Letscher is going to be on
Matt
later
Letscher,
tonight,
aka Stop.
aka Stop. as the reverse of Flash is not Stop.
Stop.
It's not. It's really,
Or
really
slow.
not.
He's super slow.
I mean, because like the reverse of forward wouldn't be stop; it would be backwards. So if anything, he should run backwards. Is what he should do. Like in the what was it? Not Crypto. Bizarro in Superman would fly backwards. Like he would literally fly feet first. It was ridiculous. They retconned all that, but it was ridiculous. Anyway, let's switch gears and talk movies. What? Oh, did I lose you? I lost your face.
You lost my face. How did you lose my face?
Where's your face at? Bring his face back. Oh, I know why. You know what? Let's just go like that. There we go. So a couple things.
Yep.
Very, 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 very excited. Sorry, Heath. That's funny. I marked myself safe from Ezra Miller last week. It's smart, very smart. Let people know. Let people know. We don't know where that guy is, man. He's off the grid. Like he's legit off the grid. They're looking for him. They want to serve him papers, and he's like off the grid.
He said, "Bye, I'll see you."
Yeah, Scott. To answer your question, see, if you followed me on social media, you would absolutely know the answer to that question. I did see the Lightyear movie. And I saw it before anyone else did because I got press passes to see an early sneak preview.
Yeah. What did you think about that?
I'm torn.
Okay.
I'm torn because you have to realize this is meant for kids. This is a kids movie. I'm a guy who grew up on Toy Story, right? We grew up on those movies.
Yeah.
And have a certain connection to our youths to it. And so parts of it's very nostalgia heavy because like there are a lot of moments in the film where you're like, oh, he's doing that because Buzz did that in Toy Story 1 or Buzz did that in Toy Story 2. It's not really spoiling much because it happens in literally like the first 2 minutes, but like you realize he likes to narrate to himself. The character in the movie likes to narrate. Like literally he's like, Starlog 102, we landed on a hostile planet and blah, blah, blah. And you realize like, oh, that's what the toy does all the time. He's always narrating to himself. And that's because it's the character. I mentioned in my review, because I did a review coming out of the theater, like I try to do always. I mentioned that I went into it a little unsure of where this falls like, is this, because they said, okay, the toy is based on this guy. So I'm like, okay, so this is a guy that flew into space and became a space ranger, came back, and then they made a toy about him. Like, no, that wouldn't make sense, right? Because the Toy Story universe takes place in 1995.
Right.
If they have space rangers, that wouldn't make any sense. So they put it right, literally the opening, the first thing you see in the movie, right after the Pixar logo and whatnot, the first thing you see is it says, in 1995, a little boy named Andy got a Buzz Lightyear, toy for Christmas. The toy is based on Andy's favorite movie. This is that movie. So what they're saying is, like, this is the movie you're watching right now is what little Andy sees in 1995, falls in love with it, and is like, I want a Buzz Lightyear toy, the same way they're selling them right now for the movie. I want a Buzz Lightyear toy, and then that's the toy he gets for Christmas.
Okay.
So that makes it all, ties it all together. I feel like the press tours really muddled the waters when they were like talking about the movie. Kind of muddled the waters. I know I'm not the only one that was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, because I'd never heard that. I didn't see it this weekend because I don't think anybody else did.
We'll talk about the numbers too. Like that's a little surprising, I gotta say. So it wasn't a bad movie. It was a kids movie, and I've seen a lot of them lately. We just saw Turning Red the other day, and all the Disney ones that are coming out. Like we watch them. I have a little kid, and me and my wife, again, we grew up on Disney and Pixar movies, and so we like watching them. And so if you go into it with no expectations of like, this is going to give me that Toy Story magic, because it's not. Yes, it's the same Buzz Lightyear in a sense, and you'll see things like, oh, where does the little laser come from, and like, what do the buttons on his chest do? Like little things you never knew you cared about, right? Like who cares what the little red, blue, and green buttons do, but like you learn what they do, and and the space pack thing, and all his little things, to infinity and beyond. Where does that come from? Like you learn all these little tidbits. It's cool. Like, I don't think it was necessarily like this is a movie that needed to be done to really understand the character of Buzz Lightyear, but it's nice. I think kids would enjoy it. I think kids would like it. I can see why a little boy named Andy fell in love with this movie in 1995, because it's a kids movie, and they like it. So that's more or less my review of Lightyear. Sorry, Scott, that you didn't see the post, but yeah, I was lucky to get some tickets to an early screening and did a review like I do afterwards. You can find it on the Pop Culture Warrior page. It's
Would you recommend somebody see it?
If you have kids, if you have younger kids, absolutely. It's a classic Disney Pixar movie. The same way you would recommend WALL-E, or like the classics, the classic.
Who recommended WALL-E? That movie was horrible.
WALL-E was a great movie. What are you talking about? WALL-E. Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to get into that debate.
Anyway, what I'm saying is, so the numbers.
Yes. The numbers aren't great.
Numbers aren't great.
Numbers aren't great. So looking at just the weekend numbers, it actually lost out to Jurassic World, and that was Jurassic World's second week, which usually you see a drop off, and I'm a little surprised, but they had 59 million for Jurassic Park this weekend, and only 50 million for Lightyear, and this is domestic, so this is in the U.S. Because if you look at worldwide box office, that's a whole different thing. But domestically, yes, they Jurassic Park.
Well, there was some controversy going overseas with it, from what I understand.
There were. I mean, that could have hurt its international numbers, because there's a same-sex kiss, which, like, I literally it happened so fast. I literally was like, oh wait, was that it? Like it's this such a small little thing, but people literally, in some places, just lose their ever-loving mind. I was surprised that Top Gun Maverick actually pulled 44 million this weekend, so it's still pulling in quite a bit of money for the couple of weeks it's been out now. 4 weeks, in fact, and it almost made as much as Lightyear did in its first weekend. So that's impressive. That's impressive. You know, and Multiverse of Madness came in at 4th, 7 weeks strong, still pulling in a couple million each week.
Yeah.
Um,
Jim Handy had a really good.
mhm.
Disney yelled too much about the kiss. If they just would have left alone, no one would have cared. And I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very in all likelihood, yeah. Well, here's the thing.
I mean, like, not to be shitty. I don't know. I don't really give a shit anyway. And
Right.
This is real life.
Here we
Adults,
don't care, but when
No, we don't
like
care. Love who you love.
overseas, a lot of that stuff, like China and Russia and all these places, that
China
are
in like the Middle East, yeah,
they
that shit's
they lose their like that stuff becomes news before the movie ever releases, and so even if Disney doesn't say anything, like it'd be it's a whole thing. It's a literal whole thing. But speaking of movies, very excited to hear this. So early test reviews are coming out about Thor, which is literally just a few weeks away.
yeah.
Days,
I'm
if
really
anything.
don't ruin this. I'm really excited about Thor. Don't fuck with it
Early reviews are very positive, very positive. And
because I'm positive.
the one standout, and this surprised me, is that early test audiences are saying Christian Bale's Gore the God Butcher
Yes.
is the best villain of the entire MCU ever.
Good.
And I'm like, that blows my mind. Because I mean, Thanos, Killmonger, you know, I mean, any of them. Loki. I mean, how many villains have we had at this point? So for them to say that a large majority of people are saying that Christian Bale's Gore is hands down incredible. So I'm surprised. Yeah, we know Christian Bale's an excellent actor, you know, and Taika Waititi is a great director, and you know, we knew the Thor movie is going to be good. We know that.
Yeah.
We know
That's not. Yeah. That's
it's not a surprise.
Everyone knew it.
But saying that Christian Bale's Gore as a supervillain, as a villain in the MCU, being the best villain, in your opinion, and by all means, you guys in the chat, let me know. In your opinion, who do you think is the best villain in the MCU? I'm curious. Who's been the best villain? I dare to say, you know, we haven't even seen it yet. I am so excited for Jonathan Majors to play Kang.
Yep.
I think he's going to take that to heights we've never seen.
I think so too. And everything else I've seen him in, he's been so good. He's such a good actor, and there's so much possibility for Kang.
Yeah, and they're really, I mean, they're
His
really letting him
that little
go with
taste of him, that little taste of him as He Who Remains was so good, so good.
Heath says the Kingpin. The Kingpin Daredevil series or the Kingpin in Hawkeye, which was same character, slightly different spin on him. Sports bar.
Because in Hawkeye he was very
he was intimidating. He was imposing. He was
but he was kind of a pussy.
I
mean,
think
really,
so.
dude. They of the way they just kind of threw him in there, he was pretty lackluster. I think in that.
Here's the funny thing. I feel Kingpin in the Daredevil series was very close to comic book Kingpin, right? Like really scary dude.
Yes.
Whereas it's funny that I feel like Kingpin in Hawkeye was very close to like animated Kingpin, like the one we saw in like the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon and like those versions of Kingpin, where like he was imposing, he was large, he was almost a little more comical and a little more Saturday morning cartoon. He says I was thinking the bowling movie. That's funny. I
mean, I don't know. Thanos was pretty fucking good too. I mean, let's be honest. Like, dude killed it.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah,
that was
really
good. That was a good character.
Yeah, agreed.
What about? I'm gonna throw this one out there too. What about Wanda as a villain?
Wanda as a villain, yeah. I mean, they've always gone on record, and this is Kevin Feige himself went on record years ago when he said that Wanda, and this was leading up to like Endgame, he's like, Wanda was the most powerful MCU character. Like she had the most power of anyone. And, leading up into Infinity War, we saw a little bit of it, um, and in Endgame, obviously when she came back, she was mad. But yeah, so for them to finally tap into that and really let her go loose and show what she's capable of, it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. I mean, how do you can't, like, how do you beat it? You can't. The answer is you can't. You literally have to let her. It's almost like the Hulk.
She has to beat herself.
Yeah, it's like the Hulk. You have to just let them calm down. You have to let them kill as much as they can, get it out of their system, and calm down. And then that's when you win the day. That's kind of what they did. She had to just kind of tucker herself out and then get a little reality slap.
I mean, I really, as far as just and not just the power of her as her persona, but just that it was a very compelling. And it was such a weird take as a viewer. It was hard to see her as the villain.
Right.
Because you understood the backstory. Right? Like, okay, think of the dudes who, like, as on Father's Day, that one dude who, like, beat the shit out of his daughter's rapist. Right? At the end of it, if you just saw some dude beating the shit out of someone and beating him literally to death, like, man, that guy's wrong. But then you hear the backstory, and then you're like, I understand.
I kind of get it. Yeah.
And so that was the way I felt about Wanda in Doctor Strange. Is you understand.
I mean, killing off a lot of people, maybe not cool.
Right. But you understand.
I kind of get where she's coming from. Sure. Kaz says, don't the heroes and villains trade place somewhat during their existence? I wouldn't say on the whole, like, that's just kind of a rule of, like, good guys and bad guys are going to swap. But I mean, when you think of, comic books and TV shows, like, these things are long format storytelling, right? They've been writing stories since the 70s, the 60s, and the 50s. At some point, you're like, well, what can we do to mix it up? All right, Spider-Man's going to be a bad guy this month. You know what I mean? And I mean, my God, Superman's going to snap someone's neck. That happens in the movies.
But I think but that was also kind of explored in Civil War, too.
Yes, yeah. Like,
I mean, not to be shitty
not
about
that they were
it,
going to be villains,
what?
but that they're on two sides of of opposing thought. Yeah,
Right. And that line of what makes them good or bad is very arbitrary.
yeah. No,
Their thought.
Wanda had a great point. She she said, like, look, you rewrite history and use the Infinity Gauntlet, and you guys are the heroes. Like, she's like, I want my kids back, and I'm the bad guy.
Yep.
So it's a fair point. But murder is usually where we kind of draw the line.
Yeah, I mean,
even righteous murder is
right. I mean, but I mean, how many fucking people? The Avengers have killed plenty of people fighting the different villains over the course of the MCU.
Yeah.
Wanda just killed specific people. Does that make sense? Like,
Sure.
There's been a lot of collateral damage. I guess they don't really show it as much, and they try to save it, but they talked about it in Sokovia, right? Like, all those people died, and they're like, they're trying to save them, but some people fucking die.
Yeah.
Right?
It's collateral damage, man.
I'm just saying, like,
funny note to tie it all back into each other. I was reading an article and they were interviewing Christian Bale about, like, hey, coming into the MCU, and this is a direct quote. He goes, the funny thing about that, people would tell me, oh, look at this, you've entered the MCU, and I had to go, wait, I did what? I didn't enter shit. What's the MCU? He had no idea when he signed on to play this character what the Marvel Cinematic Universe was.
Yeah.
Like, he had no clue. Like, I'm sure he's heard of, Iron Man and, like, these movies and Avengers, but he had no idea the concept of, like, all these movies are connected, that it's one massive shared universe that he had just entered. So I just find that hilarious. Like, Christian Bale seems like that kind of guy. He definitely seems like that kind of guy. That's
right.
Like,
I'm really excited to see the new Thor movie.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be good. Now, speaking of Thor, I have another headline for you. And a good buddy of mine has been asking me for updates. People out there in the chats have been asking for updates. It comes up every once in a while. So I finally got an update. Because Chris Hemsworth, way back in 2019, announced he was going to play Hulk Hogan. The 26-inch pythons and whatnot. Or 34-inch pythons? I don't remember what the numbers were. But big guns. And that's a big passion project of his. He's teaming up with Todd Phillips, who's the director of, The Hangover, as well as the Joker movie. Recently he was asked, have you been preparing? Are you getting ready? What's going on? And he basically said, I haven't done anything yet. It hasn't metastasized yet, so to speak.
Metastasized? All right, bud.
Yeah, it hasn't come to
It's
fruition.
not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. He says, look, this movie's going to be a really fun project. As you can imagine, the preparation for the role will be insanely physical. I'll have to put on more size than I ever have before, even more for any of the Thor movies. Then there's the accent, the physicality, the attitude. He says, I'll have to do a deep dive into the rabbit hole of the wrestling world. All these things, plus, the balding, the mustache, and, the trademark look of Hulk Hogan. So
they can figure that shit out, though.
Yeah. So it's coming, but when, we don't know. And
Okay.
all signs point that this will be released on Netflix. This will not be a mainstream release. This will be a Netflix exclusive. But yeah,
it kind of sucks, dude. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sucks to me.
Yeah, but we've seen that more and more. We've seen Ryan Reynolds release 2 big projects to Netflix. Leonardo DiCaprio released a project to Netflix. A lot of these big name guys. Netflix is throwing a shit ton of money at people to make exclusive movies for Netflix. So it would make sense. You get Chris Hemsworth off the popularity of Thor. You get Todd Phillips off the popularity of Joker and the Hangover movies and all that. And you get them to Netflix, and it's going to be a big draw. Netflix will do a big marketing campaign.
They will.
And yeah, so it'll come eventually, but not anytime soon. Which leads me into my next tidbit. Speaking of, you see how I tied these together, right? We went from Thor to Chris Hemsworth playing there. But now, speaking of the director, Todd Phillips, right? There's something else he's got cooking up. He just posted an image of the finished script for the sequel to the Joker movie. Remember we talked about this, should Joker, the movie, even have a sequel? Should it be left alone? Well, we got a couple of updates. They finished the script. I don't speak French, but it's going to be called, it's currently called Joker Folie à Deux. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
sounds made up.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to stand for. I'm sure if somebody out there speaks French, they can translate. Here's where it gets interesting. The latest note on this movie, and I'm going to throw a curveball at you. You ready for this? I'd love to hear what the audience thinks. The latest, obviously besides, Joaquin Phoenix joining the cast as Joker, is that they are trying to get Lady Gaga on board to play Harley Quinn, and that this will be a musical. So that I'm going to repeat that because it took me a while for my brain to wrap around that. So Joker 2, they're trying to bring on Lady Gaga to play Harley Quinn, and this will be a musical sequel.
Just stop. Stop for a minute.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
That's a great question. It's a great question. And I don't.
Yeah, Scott, hashtag not my Joker.
Well, do you want Jared Leto back?
Fucking maybe. Fucking somebody. You know what? They can they get Heath Ledger's fucking corpse. Jesus. And hook him up to some fucking wires or some shit, and it'd be better than that. Not too soon.
Too soon.
Not too soon. It'll never be too soon. Too soon.
No.
Fuck that, dude. That sounds like the dumbest shit. Yeah, Gaga be wearing the meat suit might make it worth watching.
Yep. Um,
No, that sounds dumb as fuck.
nah,
Who? Never mind.
and here's the funny thing. Remember, we talked about this. Like when that movie came out, they said, "Look, this is a standalone movie. This is not a franchise. We're not doing this." Blah blah blah. And we said that from the get go.
Yep.
And the minute that movie dropped, and it fucking made like $1 billion
Yeah.
worldwide, and I told you, I said, anything that makes $1 billion, they don't care how bad the sequel will be. They're making a sequel.
Yep.
And here we are. Here we are a couple, months, years later, and they're making a sequel to it. It's
Of course they are, but they don't have to. Good idea, fairy movie. Yep, that's right. That's right, Cause. It's a good idea, fairy movie.
If you think that's bad,
Sounds fucking dumb as shit, dude.
we're about to take a step.
People will watch it.
Well, of course
They're
people
gonna
will watch
make
it.
money.
Absolutely, it'll make money hand over fist.
Fuck. This is why.
Yeah.
Why?
You remember? We talked about this a long time ago. We said there was a dark time for comic book movies, right? Well before
DC's still in it.
Yeah. Well before Blade and Spider-Man's and all those, like there was the dark times for comic book movies where they weren't taken seriously and they weren't there wasn't a lot of love and heart put into it and accuracy put into it. And people was like, why do we keep getting these crappy movies? Because people keep buying tickets to see them. And that you make a crap movie and it sells a crap lot of tickets, they're gonna make a crap sequel. Like that's just how it is. So I hope people always ask, like, when are we gonna hit was it like critical mass? When are we gonna hit the point of no return or the point of diminishing returns for superhero movies? And I feel like it's things like this that push us a little closer in that direction. The doomsday clock
Absolutely
is moving for superhero movies. Is like we're like at 11 p.m. now on the doomsday clock.
Yeah, on the doomsday clock. But seriously though, like, when they're someone in some backroom factory at DC just took a giant fucking rip off a crack pipe and was like, dude, musical Joker.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
I mean, I just can't figure out why and who asked for these things. It's like when you go to the store and you see like bacon ice cream and you're like, who the fuck? Why? Why do we have this? Because stoners? Like, I like stoners, but they have some bad ideas.
Yeah.
Like, stoners are cool people and you can like hang out with stoners. Don't let them do your taxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't let them make your movies, DC. Like, fucking figure your shit out over there.
Yep. Now, if you think that's the worst news story, I'm going to tell you.
Oh, it gets worse? I love this rabbit hole. Let's keep on digging.
We're going to do one more before we jump to break.
All right.
And this is one, I had a conversation with a friend of mine today, and we got so mad. We both got so mad about it. Now I'm indifferent, but I'm going to share the news with you. We've talked many times about how Sony doesn't seem to know what the fuck they are doing when it comes to making these Marvel movies, these in association with Marvel movies. Venom was okay. A lot of people, like myself, had issue with some of the changes they made. Again, I'm all for making changes for the point of the story, but there's certain things that are important to the character that should be there. It's like saying, okay, we're gonna make a Spider-Man movie, but he's wearing Santa Claus outfit. Like, it's like, well, what is that? Wait, why? No, he's Spider-Man. He wears Spider-Man outfit. Anyway, so Venom, they made some changes. It made a bunch of money. They made a sequel. They made more changes. Made a bunch of money. Whatever. They're gonna make a sequel. Then we got to Morbius. And Morbius, while it wasn't a bad movie, it wasn't good.
It was. You can just say
wasn't
it was
good.
bad.
It was. There's bad movies. I just it was outdated. It felt so dated. It felt like something like I would have saw around the same time I was watching the Blade movies. Like that's what
Yes.
it felt like.
Yeah.
And not to be can make the connection of
It
vampires,
felt like that
but
very stereotypical
yeah,
superhero movie.
yeah. It
Yep.
felt very dated,
Yep.
both graphically and just some of the choices and the
The whole
choices.
thing was pretty. It was not. It was not. It was subpar for 2022.
Yeah, at best. Now,
Yes.
okay, brace yourself, because I really said I don't feel things are going to get better, and now I've pretty much got confirmation about that. The next movie, which is currently filming in this franchise of Spider-Man spin-offs, is Kraven the Hunter. Well, Kraven's not a hunter in this one. He is not a big game hunter. Oh, no, no, no. In fact, from the actor himself, that's playing Kraven the Hunter, said he's more of a conservationist. He's an animal lover, animal conservationist. That's like saying Spider-Man is now a bare knuckle boxer for this next movie. Like that's not who the character is. I understand making a tweak in the backstory. I understand making a tweak in the costume, making a tweak. I understand all that, and I'm fine with that. Take some liberties, but you're taking the core of the character. You know, I'm gonna turn Venom into a mime. He's a children's party mime now. Like, you're changing the core of the character. Kraven the Hunter is literally his fucking name in the comics. He's Kraven the Hunter. And they're like, yeah, no, he's not gonna be a hunter for this. You know, we're going a different direction with this one. He's ditching the dangerous, bloodthirsty nature. That's a quote. That's what I was drawn to. That's what I wanted to see. I don't want the Kraven that's rescuing puppies out of trees and shit. Like, I don't. Who wants that? And I get it. They have to sell these movies. This is the problem. Because they're using these fringe characters, they're using all the quote unquote anti-heroes, because they can't straight up sell up the villains like, you know, DC does with Suicide Squad. So they're using all these anti-heroes, but the anti-heroes have one thing in common. In the comic books, they started out as villains. And they were villains for a long time before they saw the error of their ways and started trying to make amends and becoming anti-heroes. When you start them out as the anti-hero, you're neutering them.
Yeah.
And it's just uncomfortable. And who at Sony needs to hear this? Stop it. Stop. They've got an El Muerto in the works. They've got a Madam Web in the works. They've got all these movies in the works. They were trying to do a Silver and Black with Silver Sable and Black Cat for a while. I think they scrapped that one. But and the Spider Woman. That's another one that's coming down the line. Spider Woman. They're gonna make it a guy who he's a bodybuilder. Like you're fundamentally changing all the characteristics that are the draw of that character. Dr. Octopus is now going to be an actual octopus that went to med school and he performed surgeries. Like, it's like, what are you doing? Who are they hiring to make these decisions? In a quote, he said, "Look, man, Kraven's not an alien or a wizard. He's just a hunter, a human with conviction," which you just said he's not a hunter in this movie, but now you're saying he is a hunter, but a human with conviction, an animal lover, and a protector of the natural world. A very, very cool character. To me, that right there screams, he's like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't know what I've done. You know, I did not sign up for this. This is not what I thought when I did the research. Ah,
But it is what you thought when you did the research.
I
What do
don't.
you do, dude? You can't, man. Just can't. You just can't with these people right now anymore. I just can't with them. I'll tell you.
He said that in this movie, which again I thought, oh, Craven the Hunter, globe trotting world, like right, we're gonna be the jungles, and then this and then they're like, nope, whole movie takes place in one spot. You're like, oh, okay, cool. So
Yep.
there's no traveling.
Can we blame this movie on Kathleen Kennedy this time?
I mean, maybe.
Hashtag not my Craven the Hunter.
Oh man, I don't know. Yeah,
We did a Venom movie without a Spider-Man, a Morbius movie without an audience, and now it's time for a Craven movie without the hunting.
Yeah, nailed it.
You're not wrong, Keith Miller. You're not wrong.
Nailed it.
But okay. Back to the story.
Yeah.
What?
He even said
What's gonna make him stop? What's gonna make him stop?
No, nothing. Nothing. When people stop paying to see this garbage, you gotta just boycott Sony.
No one went to see fucking Morbius.
Did you see they re-released it in theaters and it made even
and they're
less
like,
money?
back by popular demand. No, bitch, you need to make more money. You was broke.
And they made even less money. Like nobody wanted to see it the first time. Why would you re-release
No,
it?
it's garbage. It's like you go to a garage sale on a Saturday and it's just empty boxes of bullshit. Oh, it's an empty cereal box. You want to pay $5 for it? No, the fucking full cereal box is $3.50. Why the fuck would I buy this for?
I'm true. Like every time Sony like gives us like, oh, we're gonna do Venom. I'm like, oh yeah, baby, let's go. And then they give us that, and then it's like, hey, we're gonna do Morbius.
You know
what?
what? Venom wasn't. We could have done worse with Venom.
Right, Venom wasn't bad.
They could have done worse with Venom.
It's looking better and better now. When I see this stuff, it's looking a lot better. A lot better.
God, it's like you have a fat girlfriend in high school. You're like, I'm glad you're that fat bitch, and then it just get worse and worse and worse. You get older, you're like, fuck, where'd that fat bitch go?
Yeah. So I don't know,
At least
man.
her pussy was stanky.
I'm worried. I'm nervous. I'm worried.
What are we nervous about?
Because
hear me out on this one. Okay. Every family has that one like crackhead uncle who just has the dumbest ideas, fucking whatever. Uncle Eddie kind of bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Let them be the fucking Uncle Eddie.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Come on, we've heard this. One bad apple can spoil the bunch. All it's going to take is for one really bad movie, and then it spoils all the superhero movies.
No, I don't think it will.
I hope
I don't think it will. I think there's such a distance between what the MCU is doing in all the ways, dude, in the quality of production, in the quality of the actors that they have, the cast and crew is just phenomenal compared to this garbage. It's like porn, dude.
Yeah.
And you've got your good quality porn that you'll actually pay for, and the rest of it you watch free on the internet. That's what we're getting into with
this. You know what it is, though? Speaking specifically of the cast, I don't think they've done a bad job with casting, right? Tom Hardy as Venom and Jared Leto. I mean, say what you will about him, but as Morbius, like, and now Aaron Taylor Johnson, whatever his name is, as Craven. Like, I don't think the casting is bad. I don't know if it's the I don't know if it's the
I think
scripts,
it is. I don't. Okay,
the
here's
directors.
The deal. They're not bad actors. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're not the right person for the role.
Maybe.
Does that make sense?
Maybe.
Like you could have taken somebody, Jeff Bridges, pretty fine actor.
Sure.
You put him as Iron Man, it's not going to fit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
But
so you've got.
But do people pay to see it? That's the question. Do people pay to see? Because that's what they're doing.
Obviously not. Because
I feel if they got
Morbius,
no names,
Morbius didn't make any money.
Right. If they had
the
no
only reason
names,
Morbius made any money was the only movie in the theater at the time. That's it.
If they had hired no names to be in those roles, like people that's their first breakout role, whatever, A, their careers would have been over. But B, it would have made almost no money. But it would have made almost no money.
But the production would have cost them no money, so they would have actually made more money.
maybe.
But I'm just saying, like, there's just, I feel like right now you've got Thor coming out.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a Debbie Does Dallas production, right?
I wouldn't know.
You're going to have Craven the Conservationist is going to be like blonde Russian chick
Right.
that you get for free on Google. Like when you Google blonde anal, that's what you get.
And on that note, we're gonna toss to a break. We've reached the top of the hour.
We're gonna toss
it to a break. Great segue. I can't follow that. So we're gonna toss to a break. And when we come back, either we will have a guest or we won't.
We do have a guest.
We do have a guest. All right, guys, we're gonna toss it to a quick break. When we get back, we got the amazing Matt Letscher joining us. Shots.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, you there? Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, alright? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, would you think because the show's going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
Looking up and fading out, cirrus shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen right around, pushing through, skin is brown. Nature has us trapped in fear, so I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surroundings. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking of mine. Due to the ones who granted you it. There's got to be another way. We will not embrace this play. It's my place to be a part of the hate and pain that I beg you to eliminate. All this destruction and hate, how do you think it came to this? We are not the ones to blame. We did not create this. You hold us responsible. You blindly believe the lies, ignoring the truth. You avert your eyes. There's got to be another way. We will not embrace this play. It's my place to be a part of the hate and pain that I beg you to eliminate. I am the repulsive reality you refuse to accept. I am the weapon until required is safely kept. I am the means to the end you refuse to secure. I am there's got to be another way. We will not embrace this play. It's my place to be a part of the hate and pain that I beg you to eliminate.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. Oh, my goodness. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. So my guest tonight is an incredible actor, director, and playwright. He's originally from the great state of Michigan. And you might know him as James on Narcos, or as Billy Chambers on Scandal, or maybe it's Tom Bradshaw on The Carrie Diaries. But around these parts, we know him as one of the most terrifying villains of the entire CW's Arrowverse. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to our terrifying guest, the incredible, the Reverse Flash himself, Mr. Matt Letscher, everybody. Terrifying,
I know,
striking
really.
fear in our hearts. I was just telling Matt on the side. I was like, I don't know why, but I was bracing myself to face off against the Reverse Flash. Like I was. This is a weird thing where obviously you are an actor, you're a gentleman, you're a nice guy, but I was just steeling myself for that. I don't know why. Do you get that a lot?
It's weird. I think I actually do get that a lot. What I get from people is kind of like, wow, you're so I won't say everybody says I'm so nice, but it's like, I'm expecting something else, and don't hold your hand up at me. Don't, it's very. There's certainly like some sort of intimidation factor that role brings that people when they approach me are waiting for, and
Oh
I don't
man.
have it. I don't have it.
You put it all on the screen. You don't carry that, in life.
Try to. I
Um,
tried.
so our first question's always the same for every guest, regardless of where their background, where they're coming from. What is your connection to the military?
There's a bunch of people in my circle who were in the military and are in the military still. I've got a couple of cousins who are both in the Navy. And they served right after college, and I got two of my best friends from high school were both in the Navy as well. One ended up flying S3s all over the country. He was, down in San Diego and up on Whidbey, and now he's in Norfolk, and he's about to retire there. Finally, he's a lifer.
Hmm.
Just great guy, Rich Lickfold, and then another buddy of mine from high school was fighting CB. He joined the CBs for 6 months, and then had 6 years of reserve after that. And that was one of those instances where he was a guy coming out of high school that maybe needed a little more direction,
Right.
and he'd own up to that. And the military, I think, served a great role for him in that way. So yeah, some family who are still in, some who are out, people who have had all kinds of different experiences in it, and so grateful for their service, and everyone's service.
That's so cool, man. Well, you thank them for their service for us, and
Will
um,
do.
I will. You're a dad. You're a father of two. This
Yeah.
was just Father's Day weekend. You have a good Father's Day? Did you get a good one?
I I had a great Father's Day. I didn't spend it with either of my children.
The best kind
They're
of Father's Day.
Yeah, they're older now. They're like they're one's working up in the Pacific Northwest. The other one is on a summer educational trip. So they weren't here, and so it was great actually. My wife and I got up, got some coffee, got some donuts, which are a big no-no, but on Father's Day, why not? And it was pretty chill, pretty great. Yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
nice.
Fatherhood is one of those things that just feels like one of the best decisions I ever made, even though I had really nothing to do with either of them turning out to be good or smart or cool or anything.
Oh, I'm sure that's not the case at all. So let's get to know you a little bit better. I know you're from Michigan, attended the University of Michigan, received your bachelor's in theater.
Mhm.
What do you think? What's the highlight of Michigan, right? If you're selling Michigan on our audience, right? What do people need to check out? What do people need to know about Michigan?
Um, well, the first thing that comes to mind is northern Michigan. I mean, the Great Lakes are the defining feature of the region and of the state for sure. And up in northern Michigan, along the top part of the mitten or up in the UP, there is some of the most beautiful country. I mean, in terms of like lakefront, lake life kind of property, Michigan is one of those places where people from all over the Midwest go to northern Michigan to vacation and spend time. And my grandmother lived up there when I was young. I spent a lot of time up in Frankfort, Michigan, which is a beautiful old shipping town actually up there. And it, yeah, I would say its natural beauty is the first thing I think of, and then the second thing I think of is the Michigan Wolverines. I went to school there. Ann Arbor is a great town. I don't need to tell anybody that; they all know that. But that was a pretty defining experience for me going to school there. It was great.
Yeah. Scott in the chats, he says hockey's the go-to. So
man,
there you go.
They're always there. And we finally beat Ohio State this year, which was just an absolutely transcendent experience for me.
That's awesome.
After so many years of losing to those guys.
Yeah. And guys, we have a bunch of people watching. If you have questions for the amazing Matt, just let us know and or put them in the chats and we'll get to them as we can. What else? So, you know, I'm curious. I read an interview with you about you, and you said that you were kind of going about your way. You were kind of wrapping up kind of youth sports, and that's where you kind of got into acting and the theatrics of it, and that it was actually kind of an ultimatum from your parents. I don't know. Is it? Can we talk about that? Where were you like as a kid that they had to drop this on you?
Well, I don't think I wasn't a bad kid, but I was doing some bad things. Yeah, I hit a spot where I wasn't really good enough to continue further into playing the sports that I liked anyway, and I was just making some poor choices recreationally speaking, and got myself into a little bit of trouble, and I just had too much time on my hands, and they didn't tell me to do anything in particular. They just said, as I remember it, you find something to do with your time, or we'll find something for you. And I already had the idea that I might audition for the school play. I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. I had never acted growing up. I was actually a pretty shy kid, pretty introverted. But I had some faint idea in the back of my head that I might be good at it. I don't know why. And I went and I auditioned for this Woody Allen play, which, for a 16-year-old Roman Catholic kid from the Midwest to be playing Woody Allen in a play was a bit of a stretch maybe, but I went, I'll never forget the audition. I went in there and it's one of those things where I was up on stage, I was reading with someone else who was off stage, and I just sort of felt like I know what to do. Like I actually know what I'm supposed to do here. And I remember everything kind of locking in. I remember hearing all the laughter out in the house, in the theater from the director and other people watching the audition. And I'll never forget that feeling of just like, okay, I've got something. Like I never would have in a million years thought I'd be a professional actor, but I knew what to do instinctively. And that's a lot of the battle, for an actor. It's just that you either have that kind of understanding or you don't. It's hard to teach that.
Yeah.
But yeah. It was very, I can still see it. I can see it all. It was changed my life right there.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Hey, by no means are we anywhere near the same page, but like I did some high school musicals, right? I did some acting, some things. And I definitely remember that feeling. I was a bit introverted myself as well. And I remember like, the lights coming, the laughter, you don't really see anybody, but you just hear this laughter and you feel that wave of energy coming off the audience. It's an incredible feeling. So I can relate. I can, me and this guy, we know.
Yeah. All right. But basically the same person.
Basically the same. A couple choices different. That's all. So obviously this is a show about pop culture and nerd culture and things we geek out about and movies and TV. Obviously all these things. Where is your geekdom at, right? What gets you fired up? I mean, history, music, books, any shows, games. Where's your geek flag fly?
My geek flag, I would say, I mean, sports have always been such a big part of my life, and it was such a big part of my family's life growing up that like on the geek side of things, I'm a pretty major geek when it comes to fantasy football, I have to admit.
All right.
And I had a real problem with it for a while there. It was, far too many leagues and far too little time, but it's just there's nothing more that I love than like waking up on a Sunday morning with a cup of coffee and just digging into the numbers, whatever those numbers might be, just
Mhm.
useless, pointless, wasted energy. But there's something about trying to figure out that puzzle every week that I just love, man. I just love it. It's weird.
No, I 100% agree. Absolutely couldn't. Oh man, couldn't live my life without some fantasy football. So see, celebrities, they're just like us, you know.
Right, right.
What things are you passionate? Like, what charities are you passionate about? Are there any causes that are near and dear to your heart that you want more attention to get drawn to?
Well, there's one in particular, and I actually I did a little mini fundraiser for it this year, and that's Chef Jose Andres's World Central Kitchen. I don't know if you're familiar, you
Nope.
are. I mean, they just do incredible work when it comes to food security in very precarious places, either I mean, the work they're doing in Ukraine to feed people. They partner with, local restaurants on the ground in all these areas, places where you've had natural disasters, where there is a real chance for people to go hungry for an extended period of time. And that's the one thing you can't have happen in those kinds of scenarios. So, really, the guy is just created an incredible organization, and they do great work all over the world. They respond so quickly to these things, and have made just a huge difference in so many families' lives and children's lives across the world who are in real trouble. So, that's the first thing I'd put out there, and then we also are a big we're a big national parks family. Growing up, lots of road trips, lots of Griswold road trips across the country to all kinds of different national parks. So we contribute to the Yosemite Fund and some other things that support our national parks.
That's awesome. That's so
Yeah,
great to hear. We'll tag. We'll leave links so people can check out those great things that they're talking about and let
thank
them
you.
learn a little bit about it too.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that's so cool. But let's dive in a little bit into your acting career, because my
Okay.
goodness, sir, you've I mean,
I'm a
not
lot
to
older.
not to
Yeah.
I was like not to start counting rings on the trunk here, but you got quite a resume. You got quite a resume. You've done some things. It was a joy getting to look back, because I was able to pick out so many things that I recall watching or loving, and like, oh my god, I didn't realize you were in that, and I didn't pick up on that, and for different reasons and whatnot. But um,
Mhm.
your first role, right? I mean, this is my. I grew up on it. Saved by the Bell. I mean, the college years.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to do an episode of that, and I'm curious. That's your first role, and I mean, it's by no
Mhm.
means a small, a small show. It's got a pretty big following. I mean, do you remember that experience? Do you remember, what was going through your head, or what that experience was like?
Well, I had seen the daytime show, and I did Saved by the Bell the college years,
Right.
so that was primetime television, and it was a traditional sitcom, which I had never done, but it's kind of like doing theater. There's a live audience, and they're capturing all the action on a large stage from three different directions, and um, but what I was not prepared for was the the massive response that those guys get from their audiences back then, back in the day,
Sure.
Mario and all those guys. So you'd walk out and you're just hit by this wave of screaming, and uh, it was like, you know, how I imagine it must have been to be a Beatle, I guess, or something like that. It was just a very powerful, visceral experience, and I played this like, you know, douchey fraternity president that my
Right.
brothers still love to make fun of me for to this day. And um, but it was a great night for that reason alone. I was sort of exposed to this very passionate wing of youth pop culture at that time, and also got to understand that it was a lot like theater, that particular medium. And I ended up going on to do a lot of sitcoms after that, which that was instructive for. But and the thing that actually struck me then, and still I think about now, is how nice all those guys were. I mean, they're very young, obviously hugely popular then, but Mario and Mark Paul and everybody. I just remember everybody being so nice to me, and I sort of filed that away. It's like it's important.
Yeah.
Somebody visits your set, you need to show them the welcome mat and kindness.
You don't realize what it means to someone until you yourself are experiencing it, and they go, "Oh, okay, that
Exactly. Yeah.
does."
Yeah. It's intimidating. And that was like I said, that was my first gig, so that made a big difference.
Very cool. Do you have a memory of like the first time seeing yourself on TV or seeing yourself on the big screen? What was that like? Was it scary, intimidating? What was that like?
It was. I mean, I'm trying to think if I have a memory of seeing myself on TV for the first time. Oddly, I don't. I don't know. I don't remember watching that first television episode. I do remember my first big feature, which was a movie called The Mask of Zorro.
Oh yeah.
And it was with one of my heroes, Anthony Hopkins, and one of the great leading men, Antonio Banderas, and it was Catherine Zeta-Jones's first big movie in the States. It was swords and horses and all this great stuff. And I remember going to the premiere for that movie with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and just thinking, man, all right, this is it. This is exactly what you dreamed about, was doing something like this, and it turned out well. And I remember everything about that night. It was that, and I've done a lot of theater too, lots of theater over the years. And my first Broadway show was a brand new Neil Simon play, and we had toured it for 8 months before we got to Broadway. But the Broadway opening of a Neil Simon play was, again, one of those things that I just feel like I can see in crystal clear detail, every moment of it. Those two things are probably the most significant in my memory in terms of seeing them, remembering them, experiencing them again. They were pretty special.
I would imagine so. I mean, that is pretty. I remember The Mask of Zorro. I mean, I remember backflipping off couches and putting the hood and the mask and the flailing the sword and thinking that I was the next Zorro. I was the next thing. So I absolutely adore that movie and just hated your character. Absolutely. And I mean that in the best way possible. Absolutely hated him so much. Was it Captain Love? Oh man.
Captain Love.
Just
I had
the
somebody
worst.
come up to me recently, really just a couple of weeks ago, somebody come up to me and asked me if I was in that movie. And I said, yeah. And this was a guy who was probably in his 30s, and so at that time he was a child, when he saw this movie. And he said, you scared me so much. It sort of that character defines my fear of, I think he said, authority figures, or like dangerous authority figures or something like that. I said, I'm not kidding. I think about him all the time. He scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. I was like, I'm glad I could be of service. That's great.
I mean, I always, before I started interviewing actors and kind of taking a look behind the curtain, I always had this thing of like, well, who would want to be the villain, right? Like everybody wants to be the hero and loved and adored. But I as I've talked to you guys and in your industry and learned that like this idea of, if I can get a reaction, whether it's the love and adulation, or whether it's I hated him and I wanted to boo him and I wanted to spit on him and all this, as long as you connect in that way, is that truly what matters to you? Is that what's most important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to, you want to connect with an audience, obviously. And it's not even so much, I want to be a part of a story, the larger picture that really has an impact on an audience. And I don't just mean like, they learned something or something like that. But it connects with you viscerally, emotionally, on sort of like a subconscious level. And I think that movie was one of those. It was an old style movie that did that. And those like evil characters are great to play because you can do whatever you want. Everything you do is in service of your goal. And there's no wrong choice really, unless it takes you farther away from your goal. A good guy is hemmed in by rules, laws, doing the right thing, all that stuff. And that's the trope that all of these superhero movies play off of all the time is, the bad guy has no boundaries. The good guy does have boundaries, has his kryptonite, whatever it is. And you, that's the thing. That's the only thing that holds them back. And so for an actor playing somebody like the Reverse Flash or playing somebody like Captain Love and Mask of Zorro is super, super fun, because it's not how you would behave at all, but it's how we might like to behave on any given day, like, I'm feeling rageful about this or that, or life's unfair or something like that. I want to do whatever I please.
Yeah.
That's what you get with those guys. And if you're invested as an actor, it can come across as something pretty powerful for people, pretty visceral. So
Yeah, and we're jumping ahead to the flag because we're gonna get there. But like,
okay,
when I see you, and you do this, like just scream and yell and like you're bulging and like flaring and like I go, wow, that must be so cathartic because like we don't get to do that in our day-to-day lives. I don't get to yell at the barista or yell at the like, and you just get to like you're paid to just let loose. I mean, how cathartic is that?
it's very cathartic. In fact, it wasn't until I'd been acting for a while that I realized, well, this is part therapy for me. I mean, I don't try to like make it that obvious, but you're allowed to release stuff that you have to hang on to in polite society. You're allowed to just unload all that stuff, and no one will take you totally seriously because it's not really you; it's a character,
Yeah.
right? So
They'll pat you on the back. They'll be like,
that's
great
right. Yeah,
job. Great
great
job.
job. I know you were crying and screaming and kicking and biting, and it's like, yeah, I was working through all that childhood trauma for you. Um, no, but I think there is that element to it where it is sort of partly like if you're able to access that stuff that isn't the best stuff, it
Yeah.
serves you.
Absolutely. And we already have a bunch of questions, and I'm going to weave them in where they fit in the conversation. So this first one from Keith says, and we're speaking about Mask of Zorro, did you get to keep the Cav Stetson from that movie?
No, I didn't keep the Stetson. That's a great idea. Jeez, I should have kept it. I got my sword. I got my my saber, my cavalry saber.
Very nice.
Which was nice. I used that a lot. And that was probably, I mean, there's so many great things about making that movie, but the sword master on that movie was Bob Anderson, who was Errol Flynn's last sword master. And I did all of the fights with Antonio. We never used stunt doubles for any of it. We would just rehearse. So that sword means a lot to me. A lot of memories for that.
Wow,
but no, not that. I should have taken all kinds of crap, man.
It should be in a museum somewhere. There should, like it's movie history right
I
there.
almost bought my horse from that movie. That's where I learned how to ride a horse, and they were selling them, and I very nearly did, but I wised up.
Yeah, I read you had never even ridden a horse before that role.
Nope. And you're supposed to lie, right? When a director asks you, "Have you ridden a horse before?" You're supposed to, and I just said, no, I haven't. And somehow, although getting that role was like a whole epic battle, but he let the horse thing slide.
Of all the things, why not the horse thing?
Yeah. Right.
And for people that don't know your back, I mean, you were on, the Friends spinoff Joey, a couple episodes, Entourage, New Adventures of Old Kirstine, Scandal, Boardwalk Empire, Castle, Will and Grace. I mean, like these are all, and I'm cherry picking here from the list, but like these are all like critically acclaimed shows. These are shows synonymous with huge stars, and like do you ever look back and you know take a moment to kind of reflect on like, wow, I've been on shows that have not just won awards, but like changed the narrative and storytelling and changed the scape of TV. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do think about that sometimes. I- it's it's funny because once you start to work as an actor, and I was lucky enough to be able to work a lot, you know, it does just become something of a job, you know, and the people you're working with, these famous people that, you know, outside of the job seem magical or different, or like you said, different from us, you know, celebrities. You realize that they're actually very, very, very much like you, and not only that, but the kind of idea of how a celebrity is or behaves is often so wrong and so counter to how these people actually are. um, so it just kind of becomes like work, you know. You It's not that I don't appreciate the job I have, I appreciate it greatly, but um, you forget that, you know, something like being on something like Will and Grace with one of the great ensemble casts, and a truly landmark television show, you know, the meaning of something like that, you're just going to have fun, you know, you're just going to make people laugh every day. So I guess I don't reflect on it too much. If I feel like I've been in something really great, like I was in a movie called Her, I think this was 2012, 13, something like that. Spike Jonze, Joaquin Phoenix, and Amy Adams, and I got to work with all these amazing actors. And I knew that Spike Jonze was a master, but then when I got on set and started working with him, I just thought, wow, this guy's special. And so I do remember those moments where you feel like you're a small part of something, you know, very special.
Yeah.
But you know, after a while, it's just your job, and it's a job you love. But it's, you know, it's still work.
Yeah, and I wonder too. I mean, almost kind of the nature of the beast of it is that it has to become okay. What's the next thing, right? Because you know, unless you know you're the you know you're on Friends and it's 10 seasons long, it's usually okay. There's a season here, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, whatever. But it's in
Yeah.
this industry, it always seems to be like, all right, that was great. You did that thing. What's next?
You are always going to be unemployed. You are always unemployment is always right around the corner.
No.
And I've always like kind of searched for that home. You know, every actor would like to land on a show for 8 years,
Mm.
or you know, find some franchise that they're a part of for a long time, and you realize pretty quickly that that's like winning the lottery, kind of. You know, sometimes it's won by people who are kind of like undeniable. You know, like it's just like they were gonna do that no matter what. And sometimes you just get lucky, you know. And I've gotten lucky in so many ways. My brain goes numb just thinking about it. But I have a private nickname for myself, which is, and now I'm sharing it with the public, which is King of the Two Season Show. Because I've done, it seems like every time I get a show where I'm a regular, we run for 2 seasons and then that's it. So you know, I appreciate that. It's added up to about, you know, 10 seasons of television overall. But you know, for me anyway, like I like the group setting. I like the problem solving. I like working together, and I like always wanted to find that family that I could come back to every day and work with,
Mm.
you know, forever. And you know, who knows, might still happen.
Yeah, and real quick, you know you've also like I look at these movies that like have changed my life, or I like that I here's the thing. I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of movies. That's my thing. So it's very easy to forget a lot of the things you watch or you know you take in. But you know when I say Mask of Zorro, instantly I'm right there.
Yeah.
Identity, great movie.
No,
You were in that as
yeah,
well. Her, great movie. 13 Hours, incredible movie. And
yeah.
so you know you be part of these movies that again that change the landscape. They become part of the public knowledge. I mean, don't sell yourself short, you know, 2 season guy, because there's so many. I mean, I would imagine there's so many actors out there that work and work and work, and you know, but they maybe never do that thing that's instantly recognizable, or you know, that thing that's water cooler stuff, you know, and you get to do that stuff. all the time.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm not please don't mistake. I am not complaining about a darn thing. I am so fortunate. My friend, a good friend of mine from college, likes to say, Matt, you got hit with a lucky stick," and I've gotten battered by that lucky stick over the last 20 some years. I really am immensely grateful for all of it, you know. And the thing is, when you take a job, you have an idea of what it's going to be, and you're never right. You know, I did this mini series about the Beach Boys
Mhm.
probably 22 years ago now, with Kevin Dunn and just a great group of young actors. And I took that job thinking, "Oh, this is just going to be a money job." You know, I don't know anything about the Beach Boys. What's so great about them? And um, one of my favorite experiences ever was doing that miniseries. It was so much fun. It was so um, just a great group of dedicated people. I discovered this whole realm of music that I'd never thought about before, and you know, I could go on about it, but it's just one of those things where took the script, I took the job, and you have this idea of what it's going to be. It's never that. It's always something else.
Mm.
So,
That's
you
beautiful.
know,
That's
yeah,
poetic. That's poetic right there. You're a
yeah,
poet. From
I
Keith,
know.
because we just mentioned 13 Hours, which is again a great movie. From
Yeah.
Keith, he wants to know: did you interact with Ambassador Chris Stevens with his family for the role of 13 Hours?
I did not. They have after his death, they wrote an editorial. Believe it was, I believe it was for a California newspaper, which I read. Um, and I what happened to Chris Stevens was so traumatic, obviously, that I I didn't want to intrude on them with that, you know. Um, in terms of his role in 13 Hours, it's an important role, and I wanted to develop him as thoroughly as I could. So I did a lot of my own research, but I didn't. I've played a lot of real people, and I'll talk to their families and stuff. And this time, I just didn't feel comfortable opening up that can of worms with them. You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
I never heard anything from them one way or the other. I don't know how they felt about the movie, but you know, I really respect him for his service, and the guy gave his life for the United States. So
Yep.
um, um, I, I wish I could have done something more in terms of honoring that or memorializing him, but just did the best I could with the role.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense, and I think that's honorable thing to, some wounds, that some scabs you don't want to pick at that, at that wound.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, fun fact is you've portrayed at least 8 real life characters, people, 8 roles in which you
On your
are.
word. Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely. I could list them all for you too. But I'm wondering because if there's 2 things I noticed as I really scanned through the resume, uh,
Mm-hmm.
bringing to life real life people, which I'm sure that as a whole set of challenges, different than your typical, picking up a character or role. The other one is you play just really great bad guys, just really, really legendary, really. So I have 2 questions. The first is what challenges, what change in the process do you have to do when you're accepting the role of a living human being or a person that was a living human being?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you have to, there's always that balance of like, how much are you doing an imitation of this person, and how much are you just inhabiting the role as it exists in this particular fantasy, because even if it's a historical fiction, it's still fiction. And this um, Boardwalk Empire, for example, I played Joe Kennedy, the Kennedy family patriarch in his um, his booze running days, and I had scenes with Steve Buscemi. Now, those two guys never really knew each other and didn't have that relationship. So it was purely fantastical. But I really did want to understand as much about Joe Kennedy as I could outside of the script as possible, because I feel like you never know what's going to serve you, you know? So with any of these people, who's a, you know, a real person, either alive or dead, I try and do all of my research outside of any kind of conversations with them first. And then if I feel like it's important, or if they're involved in the project, the Beach Boys, for example, I played Mike Love. He was involved. He was one of the producers on the project. So, you know, I spent a lot of time with him and he was great. But I ended up talking to a lot of people he knows and stealing a lot of his, you know, mannerisms and moves and stuff like that. And so I'm someone who kind of comes at it from the outside in, and with the idea that always, no matter who you're playing, you know, as a real person, they have to fit within that story and serve that role that serves that particular story. So, you know, I have to acknowledge at the end of the day, some of these people might not be, or some of my performances might not be what you expect as that person.
Right.
But that's how I feel they behave or need to behave within the construct of what we're doing. It's complex, and I know, I'm sure sometimes, you know, I've portrayed somebody who wasn't real happy about it, you know. I can think of a couple of times where I'm pretty sure that happened, but you just have to, you know, you just have to do your job.
So in playing bad guys, we'll say fictional bad guys,
Yeah.
so not to upset anybody, but in playing bad guys, what makes you so good at playing bad? Like what's your secret to just playing the worst of the worst, the best of the worst?
Yeah. You know, I honestly think a lot of screen acting, or a major part of screen acting, is simply how you look and how you come across. I've often said I'm the guy with a punchable face, meaning like I can be, you know, I can be genial, I can be, you know, all kinds of stuff, but I really do believe a little bit, because of the way I look, there's like a sort of patriarchal, conservative, waspy kind of thing about me that makes people go, you know. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up. I'm not trying to put myself down or anything. I just think people come across in certain ways. So I think that's part of it. But I think the bigger part of it is, you, if you try and back off of the bad guy's intentions or goals at any time, if you try and come off as nice in any way, if you're too worried about looking too bad, and some people are, you know, you'll hear people who are the bad guys say, you know, I just don't want to look like such a jerk, you know, or and, you know, I'm like, buddy, you are the jerk. This is what it is. That's the job. You're you're crushing people to get to your goal. You don't have the same boundaries as everybody else. You override all of that. And I think that basic idea kind of, you know, serves me. And then the other part of it is, and this is, you know, just classic too, is yeah, you have to enjoy it a little bit. You know, you have to enjoy the cruelty a little bit, because if you're the bad guy, there's something wrong with you. You know, there's something not right up here. And so, however that manifests itself, you're invested, you know, you're invested in the outcomes for the good guys.
Yeah, that's so good, man. And so okay, we've come to we got to talk about Flash. We got to talk about Reverse Flash. 'Cause
Okay.
what a great character. And you absolutely crush it. I've always heard people say, you know, when I'm playing the villain, I have to put my mind in that he doesn't think of himself as the villain, right? He's the
Right.
hero in his story. But I've always had the feeling, and tell me I'm wrong, that like Eobard thought he like I say, I know I'm the villain, and I'm reveling in the fact that I'm maybe at one point he was the hero in his head, but like at this point, he just loves the fact that he's the torturer. I mean, is that how you play him? Do you think that character thinks of himself as a hero?
No. I mean, I do think the character is actually pretty complex. Like I have pretty strong feelings about the character. And I think there is clearly it's in the name. It's what he has chosen is to be the reverse of everything that Barry Allen is.
Mm-hmm.
So as good as Barry Allen is, he's that evil. And when I say reverse Flash to people who don't know the show or the character, they're like, so like he's really slow or something? I'm like, no, that's not what we're doing. It's about his character. It's about his nature. And I think he's embraced that and has, there's been a psychotic break of some kind from whatever used to might have been his good side in his upbringing, and he knows that he's there to destroy. But I do think it originates in this idea that he actually loves the Flash. He wanted to be the Flash. He wanted to be Barry Allen more than anything. And he travels to the future and he finds out he's not going to ever be that. And it's what destroys him, And so there's this seed of he is everything I want to be. He's everything I am training myself for, learning for is that. And then it's not going to happen. And so then he just flips and becomes the reverse of all that. And so I think that still resides within him somewhere, And so to say that this is truly a love-hate relationship, that's how I think of it. And the hate is what is guiding his actions overall. But I think the love is in the background there somewhere still. I think so.
Is it love or obsession?
Well, yeah, good question. Probably more obsession. Yeah. But I mean, it started from the good place of
right.
Like, this is what I want to be. This is everything I want to be. This is my role model.
I almost think if he, I'm like telling you the character, but the way I interpret it is that like, once he realized I can't be the Flash, I can't be the Flash, and I can't beat the Flash, then I'm going to be, if I can't be better than the Flash, I'm going to be the worse than any of the worst, right? I'm going to be the biggest villain you've ever faced. If I can't be the best version, I'm going to be the worst version,
Right.
And I love that. I love that. Like one way or another, I'm going to be the best. It's either the best at being the best or the best at being the worst. And
yeah. And I think he feels somehow personally snubbed by Barry Allen or whoever is the Flash, that he was personally, after all that preparation, not chosen. And it's just very personal, it's a very personal thing.
Yeah. And you've done in the books, I mean, it's 7 episodes of Flash, 14 episodes on Legends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, how glad are you that the costume is not like comic book accurate, right? That you're not in just this lycra spandex. When you first put on the costume, were you like really happy about it? I would assume, because it's not a good.
Oh, I love my Reverse Flash costume. Yeah, because in the early seasons of the Flash, there were these kind of distressed leather, really dope costumes, and these guys are in much more comic book accurate costumes for these last couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the middle of the season-ending arc on the show, and so I was there for about a month shooting, and those things are tight. They are tight. They're thin, and they've improved them in lots of ways. Those leather suits are pretty inflexible, but it just looks so damn cool. I don't know. I love that suit. I loved it so much.
It's a very like heavy metal goth, version of the speedster suit. I like it. I much even though I'm a fan of the hero, I much prefer your costume versus the typical spandex. It just it leaves
Yeah.
nothing to the imagination, which isn't a good thing.
No,
It's
no,
just-
not at all.
I can't imagine how they tuck and have to pad certain areas, but that's their problem.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Um,
I'm not gonna say anything about that. I'm gonna, leave that to everyone's
Sure.
imagination.
when
Who's padded there?
when you first got the role of Thawne, was there an initial commitment to it? Did you know, like, wow, this is going to be, 7 episodes of Cross Time, 14 episodes of Legends? Was it more or less, was it a short thing or a long thing commitment?
I was told at the time that it would be a long-term commitment, and but not a like you're going to be in every show kind of thing. It's like, oh, we're going to have you back lots and lots. It's an important character to the show. And the first few seasons I was there a fair amount, and I did a full season of Legends, which was unexpected. I didn't see that coming. It's one of the great things about playing in those CW shows is they're all sharing the Arrowverse for the most part, so you can be on almost any of them. And then I think they're I say I share the role with Tom Cavanaugh, but it's really Tom's role. I mean, I think that's why he was initially brought onto the show. So I think a combination of that and me getting Narcos Mexico made it more difficult to bring me back, and they probably just wanted to narrow it down, to one guy. So Tom usually plays him now. I got to go back on Legends this year for a couple of shows, and I'm back on The Flash right now, and that's super fun. I'm so glad to be back. I always wanted to come back to the role. But it wasn't, the initial offer was, we want you to play this role. Here's what it is. It's really important to our show, and you'll be back. You'll be back lots and lots. So as it's great to be back right now, but I really do. I've given a lot of thought to this role, and this guy, and I'd always kind of hoped to, sort of play around in some sort of origin story or something like that. And who knows, maybe the character will get it on the show. There's some rumor about that happening next year. They don't tell me anything. I have no idea. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the time I have had on the show and with that role. And especially grateful, it's a good group of people, really good group of people. But most of my stuff, almost all my stuff has been with Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash. And I just think he's just terrific in every way, just so perfect for the role, very talented actor, and just a very kind and welcoming human being. So, I've got nothing but good things to say about the Flash and Eobard Thawne, believe it or not.
I'm sure. And I think you have a distinction too. Unlike a lot of characters, you've died on screen so many times. Many times.
Yeah.
Like I was curious. So I started Googling characters on TV shows that died a lot, and you get Kenny from South Park or Homer Simpson. It's usually a lot of the animated guys. They don't show Eobard Thawne any love. I mean, this guy has died and come back more than most characters.
Yeah.
What's up with that? We gotta get you on some of these lists, man. Like,
that does tend to be kind of a defining characteristic in the it's not that special in the Arrowverse,
right?
Like Sarah Lance, the character who's played by Katie Lotz on Legends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just on one episode she was on with me, she died like 10 times. So
very true.
There's you're not that special if you've died, a handful.
Although your deaths have been some, quality stuff.
Deaths, yeah.
I mean, you're ripped to shreds and lost into the ether, and the special effects are incredible. And you did mention, I was very shocked to see you come in last week in the episode, and I know you'll be on a couple more. Has it been? I'm curious, what has it been like for you to play a very different version of Eobard Thawne than we've seen in the past?
Really fun. I mean, you're going to see what's going on with him in short order. but to have this kind of entire personality reset and to have an actual romantic relationship on the show was not something I thought I would ever see with the character. So I I had a great time. They gave me a lot of fun stuff to do, and The Flash has always been a show with a big heart, and I've always appreciated that about it. So to be able to sort of take part in that and not be the flat out psycho all the time has been kind of fun. And uh, yeah, I just to work with Qasr Muhammad, who plays Fast Track, the new speedster. She's terrific in that role. I just yeah, it's been fun to play this Eobard Thawne.
Yeah.
Look, I am the last person who's going to be able to tell anybody which Eobard Thawne is from what
Which one is
planet,
which?
the future or the past, or I mean, I am having been away from the shows this long, like I don't know all of the different Eobard Thawnes that are out there. So I just take the one that's in front of me, focus on that, and enjoy it for what it is.
You couldn't tell from the outside. You couldn't tell that you hadn't been here the whole time. You just couldn't tell. You slip it on like a comfy pair of slippers. I love it.
Fun. Thank you.
I'm curious what your kids, having grown up with you playing these roles. I mean, your kids knowing that you're in the DC universe, of shows. Were they fans? Did they hate you because you're the bad guy? Where'd your kids fall into it?
They don't hate. No, I think they were. My son. I remember when I got the offer for the Flash, I was just going to think about it for the night, and he was 11 or 12 or something like that. He's like, "Dad, you got to do that. That show is so cool. You've got to do it." And so I took it and I did it, and I did it for a couple of years, and I remember talking to him about it after a few years, and I was like, I think I was going back to do another episode or something like that, and I was like, I might have asked him how he felt about that, and he's like, "You ruined the show for me, years ago, so I don't care. Go ahead, do your job." So they're both excited, and at the same time, when Dad shows up on screen, it doesn't quite have the same effect as it does for maybe.
Yeah, it takes you out of the believability when you're like, yeah, I watched that guy eat breakfast. It's not
exactly
not so scary.
It's scary, trust me.
And I will say that your character, Eobard Thawne, has had such an effect on me. I saw you appear on an episode of How I Met Your Father. You're the innkeeper. And,
yeah.
And I immediately hated him. Just immediately. Nicest guy, had nothing to do with anything, but I was like, he's shady. I don't trust him. I don't like him. So kudos that your character has now supplanted into other realities that I don't like them.
Definitely. He's probably the thing I'm best known for at this point. Even after like 3 seasons of Narcos, it's like online, certainly in the socials, it's like everybody calls me Eobard. Nobody calls me by my actual name. I think it's definitely what I'm best known for. But don't discount the theory of the punchable face. Some of that is just my face.
Fair enough.
Keep at a punchable face. That's all.
Fair enough. And I do think too that I think this kind of stuff works well to a fan base that's very vocal. That's you're going to hear them more than you might hear that Narcos fan base. I always think of like the Sons of Anarchy guys. They're like, yeah, I love the show, but they're not going to be on social media and tweeting out all this stuff and things as like us comic book nerds are.
Yeah. Being on the show last week was really fun. I mean, I looked through Twitter after the show aired, and there was so much great feedback, and so much support, and welcoming comments, glad to have you back, stuff like that. It just, you get a nice little serotonin boost from reading stuff like that. It's fun. It's really fun.
Very nice. Now, I mean, we're coming up to the end of time. Curious, do you want to do a quick like lightning round, a couple questions, and then we'll call it a
Sure,
night?
yeah, if anybody's got some, yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do this. What's a common misconception in your industry, being an actor, that you think?
I would say the thing I referred to earlier actually is that, you know, if movie stars are divas or jerks, you know, and I would say it's actually the opposite. The leads, the big movie stars that I've worked with are usually some of the hardest working people on set, and because generally speaking, you don't get to be that person unless you're really really good at what you do, however you do it, but you're good at what you do, and you treat people well and you work hard. You know, people don't like to work with people who are jerks. So I think, you know, it doesn't always work this way, but I think as we sort of referenced, movie stars are people too, just
Right.
like us.
Right.
Yeah.
Heath wants to know, who do you think's faster, Flash or Superman?
You know,
I'll let
Flash. I was gonna say Flash. I mean, Flash is he's got to be the fastest, and Reverse Flash is as fast as him, so they're the co-fastest.
There you go. There's good.
Same.
Okay. Keith wants to know boxers or briefs, but I'm not going to let you answer. We're going to leave some things a mystery. Some things are going to remain a mystery for the sake.
It may not be either. Who knows?
We might not want to know certain answers. What's something that you've done that you're, you know, super proud of? Maybe it didn't get its fair shake, or, you know, something that you wish more people could see, or that they should go back and see. Something you've done.
You know, something I mention a lot is a show I was on. It's actually was my first Greg Berlanti show. He's the guy who produces The Flash, and it's called Eli Stone. It was on for 2 seasons, with Johnny Lee Miller as the lead, and a great cast: Victor Garber and Natasha Henstridge, and just a bunch of people that we all loved each other. We really loved working together, and it was such a weird little show about this lawyer who has a brain aneurysm that causes him to see things, see visions, and the entire first season, each vision was accompanied by a George Michael song. It was such a bizarre idea for a show, but it really worked. It worked in a really big way, and I think it holds up. I would advise people to go find that.
All right. You have your assignment. You have your homework, people. Go out there and watch it. Couple more. I noticed you don't do a lot of convention appearances, things like that. Have you ever had any, like, what's your craziest fan interaction you've had?
I mean, I've done some conventions. I did what I think is like sort of the mother of all conventions. Not San Diego, which I guess is like, you know.
Oh yeah. The Mecca.
The Mecca, but Dragon Con in Atlanta, I went and did that, which is a massive, and it's not only huge in scale, you know, you're doing these, you know, talks to hundreds, if not thousands of people, but it's also going 24 hours a day. I mean, you go to Dragon Con, and at 2 a.m. in the lobby of your hotel, they're doing some kind of cosplay fashion show. You know, it's like just a 72-hour blitz of Fantasy Con, and I loved it. I had a great time. I would do more if it ever came up.
Yeah. Any crazy fan interactions? Anything memorable moments? Tattoo a face or sign someone's face or anything like that?
No, I've never been asked to sign somebody's butt or anything. It's always been pretty respectful. You know, the thing that's always crazy to me is the artwork that people will bring you. I mean, people spend a lot of time drawing your character with your face on it and bringing it to you. I mean, that always surprises me. I have a bunch of that stuff that I really love.
Okay. Any franchise or IP that, like, you know, you could just No auditioning. You could just jump into it. Star Wars, Harry Potter. What would be like that one fantasy thing that you would just love to jump into? That
Oh my God, I would have loved to have been in the Lord of the Rings. I mean, I loved those movies when they came out. I've always loved those books. I've read them, probably 4 or 5 times. I'm not like Stephen Colbert level of recall with the story and the characters, but when the movies came out, I just had such anticipation for them, and I actually auditioned for them. I did audition for Legolas, which obviously came nowhere close to that role, but that would be the one in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
love that.
I mean, who even got that part? No, nobody knows that guy. He's
Orlando,
some guy got it. I mean, aren't they? They're doing like a prequel, sequel series or something like that, man. You gotta get on,
they are.
get on there.
Yeah, I'll have to try and work that out.
Appreciate it. My people will get in touch. We'll work it out. We'll work it out.
Yeah, please.
This has been the most fun I've had in so long. Thank you so much for this conversation. I want to give you the last minute here. I know you're not a big social media guy, but you are out there. Can tell the fans where they can find you, where they can follow you, anything you want to promote, anything you got coming up? The floor is yours.
Well, we got, I'll be on The Flash again this week, tomorrow night. And you can hit me up. I'm at Matt Letscher on Twitter and real Matt Letscher on Instagram. I do participate a little bit and enjoy seeing the feedback. And that's the biggest thing for me right now. Yeah, I mean, is coming back with this role and getting to play with all these people again. So I'm enjoying that. I'm living in that moment.
Yeah, enjoy it, man. It's a ride. You got to enjoy it. Guys, we're going to toss to a short break. This has been the incredible Matt Letscher, the Reverse Flash himself in the flesh. We're going to toss to a quick break, and we'll be back with more right after this. Say goodbye, Matt.
All right, buddy.
All right, guys. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, you there? Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, alright? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, would you think because the show's going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hello, you fine people out there. How's it doing? Back on Pop Culture Warrior. Let's bring in my co-captain, my co-host, my good buddy, Mr. Radar.
Oh, hi, Radar.
How awesome was the Reverse Flash?
I mean, way better than Stop.
I so wanted to tell him that, you know what dumb thing my co-host says? I mean, and he kind of gave me the opening because at one point he's like, for those that don't know, the Reverse Flash is not, like slow.
Not Stop.
He's like, and I was like, oh, dude, I was like, I'm like biting my tongue. I'm like, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't throw Radar under the bus.
You should have fucking said it. I would have said it.
I should have said it. Man, he was awesome. Matt
was
was absolutely awesome. The nicest guy. Thank you guys. Keith says great interview. Chris said that was awesome. Yeah, what a nice guy. I mean, we were running a few minutes behind. We were having some technical difficulties, which I'm always like the one that's ready to pull the plug. Like he tried to get in and I saw like he connected and disconnected. And I'm like, oh no. And then he connected and disconnected. And I'm like, I'm like, I'm already starting to send out messages. I'm like, hey, let's just call it a night. We'll cancel it. We'll reschedule it. And he called me and he's like, hey, CQ, this is Matt. Hi, Matt. Like, you having trouble getting on? He's like, yeah, I'm just having some issues. And I'm like, hey, no, I understand. Like, if you want to, you can just call the station. We'll patch you in over the phone. He's like, oh no, I think I can figure it out. He's like, are we live? Are you live right now? I said, yeah, we're live. We're technically live, but the audience is listening to music. Because I mean, we're on a break. I was like, we're on a break, but there is a live audience. He's like, no, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. And then he's so sweet. The first thing he dials in, and it's like he's seeing himself for the first time, because he connects and he goes, oh, he's like, starts looking around. He's like, oh man, that's like he just realized where he was. He's like, I just got these orange curtains, and he's like, should I turn on the light or something? And I was like, no, man, you're cool, man. You're good. Just chill, relax. We'll do the thing. And he was so sweet, so nice. And he's like, I got the big beard. I'm sure you probably weren't expecting that. And I was like, well, not really. I said, I don't know why.
But it fucking works, dude.
It works.
Don't worry about it.
It works for you. And I told him, I was like, I don't know why, but in my head, when you connected, I expected to see like the reverse, like the suit and everything. It's a ridiculous thing. Like logically, I know that's not going to happen, but it was this emotional thing of like when he's connecting, I'm starting to sweat.
I'm waiting for somebody to fucking do that one night. We're going to hook it up.
Full regala. Just the full suit and everything. I mean, we had Stargirl. She had the staff. Right next to her.
She did have the staff, but she was not in the full regalia.
She was not in the full. Yeah, she was in the full suit. And but they don't even have them. Like she even says, she's like, I don't even have the super suit, and I'm sure Matt doesn't have the Reverse Flash outfit laying around. These
they say that
the
stuff,
studio,
but
only like the top tier AAA, like Tom Holland has like a Spider-Man outfit probably in his room somewhere. Those guys can get away with it. Not knocking anybody else, but the recurring role person is not going to get to walk off with a $50,000 suit.
I think that also kind of depends on okay, it's a series.
Sure.
They're going to need it again next year.
Right.
Or whenever they film again.
Right.
Where you look at like Spider-Man, like Tom Holland, okay, every show, every movie, they have different suits.
Right.
So if one goes missing, like if you're, I don't know, nobody in like a Marvel movie anyway is kind of a no-name person, but I bet they do. I bet they just kind of some of it. I mean, honestly,
I think there's the smaller things. A lot of these studios, remember, it's all about money. So they put all this money into creating the suit, and they're either gonna use it again or they're going to put it in a museum where they can charge tickets or something like that, or it'll be in some
but they have different suits though too. Like there's not just one Spider-Man suit or not just one.
But you'd be surprised. They like the Deadpool suit, perfectly example. Ryan Reynolds said the Deadpool suit for the movie, there was only 3. And one was the stunt guys, like it was fitted to him. And then 2 were fitted to Ryan Reynolds. And he admitted, he goes, I stole one. He's like, I walked off set. That's why you'll see him in on the Today Show or on the Colbert Report, he shows up in the suit because he took it. It's his.
Right. But I feel like if they cared that much, they would say words.
I mean, yes.
You know what I mean? And Ryan Reynolds is an A-list actor by all.
Yeah. I mean, he is.
And they're super happy to have him, kind of deal. But I feel like he's pretty fucking brazen by just walking around all wimbly-pimbly with this fucking suit on.
Right. Yeah.
And doing things like the Colbert Report and all that shit. So,
I mean, when you're that level, you can kind of
They've also used him for commercials in the suit that he's stolen.
Yeah. I mean, again.
So, I bet. I wonder if he goes to Comic-Con and stuff
I think he would stand out for having too good of an outfit. You know what I would love?
Those fucking nerds would probably give him shit about it.
I was gonna say, I would love for people to be like, That's the best you could do. Like, this isn't even screen
Yeah.
accurate. Like, the holster's
This is
all
ridiculous.
wrong and the thing's all wrong. And inside of Ryan Reynolds is like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking stab this kid with my katana.
You don't even sound like Deadpool, dude. Like,
you don't
this
even
is ridiculous.
sound like it. It was like a really bad
And it's literally
impression.
Ryan Reynolds in the cinematic costume. I want that to I want this to be a thing. He can borrow my new GoPro camera.
Okay, relax.
Call
relax.
Ryan Reynolds, hey buddy. He's Canadian.
just
He's
shoot him a
probably the
text real
nicest
quick.
guy in the world. Be like, hey buddy.
But yeah, no, Matt was awesome. Matt was so sweet. Like I said, he called me and he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry we're having trouble." I said, "Hey, can I text you the information and like make sure we can connect?" And shot it to him, and he hopped right in and we worked it out. And he stayed a little bit extra. You know, we're supposed to end it around 10 and ended around 10:15, 10:20. So he's a very nice guy. I mean, just yeah, I there's nothing more I could have wanted. So I'm so glad that went as well as it did. Thank you guys for participating and the awesome questions. And you guys are great. This has been a lot of fun, and I'm excited. Just personally, I'm excited to see what my new editor is going to take that interview and what he's going to do with it. We'll post it on the channel probably, I don't know, a couple days. Let him do his thing. Confirmed. Ryan Reynolds was a producer for both Deadpools, so he was just taking a portion of his investment with him. Yeah, like he literally got what he paid for. Literally got what he paid for. All right, what else? I think that's it. We did a lot. We talked a lot. We talked a lot tonight. Trying to look through my notes. If there was anything pressing to say. But I don't think so. I always make way too many notes. Way too many
Or
notes.
not enough. I told you this from the beginning.
I know. You know me. I overdo it.
You do overdo it. And it's not so bad.
It's not so bad. Okay.
It's just so funny, though, when you're like, I got all these notes. We have to do all the things. I'm like, you got 3 months worth of shit there, dude.
Just to wrap up one point that we were talking about earlier that I wanted to end on, because we were talking about how Lightyear came in behind Jurassic World Dominion for the weekend. What I found interesting was that Top Gun Maverick, which has been out 4 weeks, actually has made more money domestically than Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness in 7 weeks. So Multiverse of Madness has, because obviously every Marvel movie just big bucks. Multiverse of Madness worldwide is still ahead by about $43-ish million. But domestically is actually behind Top Gun by almost 70 million. So, and while I'm not surprised, because this is a very patriotic, America, fuck yeah, kind of a movie, where Doctor Strange is just, comic book movie. But I was surprised that in 3 less weeks in the States, Top Gun has actually made more money than Doctor Strange. I mean, are you surprised to hear that?
Maybe.
Because I mean, it's Tom Cruise's biggest box office success ever, like including the Mission Impossibles and everything. It's made more money than any Tom Cruise movie.
Bad. I just don't know, dude. Like, okay. We're gonna get a radar ran a little bit.
Okay, hold on. Go ahead.
We have been waiting for this fucking movie for so long, right? For fucking years.
Well, 30 years.
Years.
30 years to be exact.
Yeah. So I mean, like, there's something to be said for that. Like, we knew Doctor Strange had been coming. Like, it's been kind of this Top Gun has been overhyped so much for so long. You're almost indoctrinated to go see it. And I'm not entirely sure it warrants such esteem. Does that make sense?
You didn't think it was a great movie?
It's all right.
Really?
I didn't. Maybe because Black Widow. Same thing with Black Widow. I wanted Black Widow to be so good.
If you're
I wanted it to be so good. I waited for it for so long. And it was all right.
So you feel Top Gun was all right as a movie?
Yeah. I don't think it was great. I just don't.
I disagree.
I don't know, man.
It wasn't a perfect movie.
No.
Hear me out. It was 2 hours and 11 minutes, something like that.
Sure.
If you took out the middle portion, which was the little love interest, if you took out all the love interest shit, right, and just made it, the opening with the experiment stuff, and then he goes to the school, and he's got to train these kids, and then the mission, if that's a 90-minute balls to the wall, perfect movie,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Yes.
That is a perfect movie.
Yes.
Even with all that stuff that wasn't really necessary, in my opinion, to the character of the plot, even with all that stuff, I would still say it's a solid 9.
No, 7.
8.5 at the lowest. 8.5.
No. But here's what I'm going to say on that, dude. And this is what they do. You have, like you said, 90 minutes of great movie, but they still got to fuck it up.
I don't think they
still got to
fucked it up. I think they provided a little bit of.
Because it was choppy. It didn't. I mean, it just felt like it was forced. It felt like it shouldn't have been there. It felt like it had. Same with like Pearl Harbor. Okay, just all fucking choppy and shitty. Like you had some options. It could have been a very good film, but then you start throwing all this other bullshit in there that doesn't even fucking matter and like make any fucking sense. And like, you know what I mean? Like, don't just leave it out. Don't give us that bullshit. If we want to watch that bullshit, we'll watch a fucking sappy, shitty movie. We don't want that. Give us the good part. It's like if you have a really, really good steak, but it's got a bunch of shitty bullshit on the outside you got to cut off. Do you still call it a great steak? No, you paid for 8 ounces of bullshit over here.
I would say it's a great steak, just not a perfect steak.
No, but that's what I mean. You can't come around and say this fucking movie's so great when there's so many flaws in it. I wanted to like it more than I did. Does that make sense?
Okay, no, that makes sense.
I really wanted it to be a 10. I wanted it to be a fucking home run. And I felt like it was an intentional.
You were disappointed. Yeah, you were disappointed.
I was. So I don't get that's why I don't feel like it should be hyped up as much. I feel like it was overhyped. I feel like we got a lot. It's also part of. I think it was playing on the nostalgia of the first one,
obviously.
But I mean, like, okay, so you look at
any sequel is gonna.
But no. Like the new Saved by the Bell or whatever it's on fucking Netflix.
Yeah, sure.
Right? How you're supposed to like it because you like Saved by the Bell. Mm-hmm. Well, not really. You know what I mean? Like you can't. You're taking all this shit. You're like, oh, well, you grew up watching Top Gun. You're gonna have to love Top Gun. It was all right, but I shouldn't love it because I liked the first one fucking 40 years ago.
Right. Here's the thing. I was a fan of the first one.
Yes.
I would. In my opinion, this is a better movie than the first one. In my opinion, this is a superior movie to the first one.
Oh yeah, because you're looking at okay, how so?
In terms of storytelling, acting, and action sequences. Right? Because obviously you can't compare apples to apples, like, oh, today's technology versus their technology and what we can do in CG and which a lot of the stuff they did. I'm blown away how much practical they did for this movie. Give them credit.
I will. I'll give them credit for
that. They
that.
had the one scene where he's doing the fucking maneuvers, Tom Cruise, to be like, look, I can do it, so you can do it. They actually did. I mean, obviously not that way, but they got special permission from the Navy to fly at 50 feet off the ground and pull those maneuvers, which that's ridiculous. That's like you could clip a small house, small building at 50 feet. I could throw a basketball high enough. You could like clip that thing. But my point is like, I honestly think the action, the story.
I don't think the story, dude. I don't think the story. I think that original story, the original plot line, the original story was better. 100%. And you want to know what was even better about it? At the time. Put yourself back in 86.
I'm sure, yeah.
Like how much different that was than the other bullshit that was on the screen.
Saying
Todd Washburn has the greatest comment. If Top Gun Maverick had been released in the 90s, we'd be way more forgiving. And I agree with that. I think that this movie has just been so hyped to us that it's
They
going to
couldn't
be
pull
the
this movie off in the 90s. It would be impossible to pull this movie. Even the early, fuck the 90s, early 2000s to 2010s, this movie would have been damn near impossible to make. The way they did it, it wouldn't be the same. My point is, I imagine myself 1986 sitting in the theater watching Top Gun, and I imagine myself 2022 sitting here watching Top Gun 2, Return of the Boogaloo, and I think Top Gun 2 is a better movie. Given the technology, given everything, not to say like, obviously this is a better technological achievement than that one.
Oh, yeah,
Obviously.
Because you've got 40 years
yeah,
of fucking improvement. with
obviously.
CGI and stuff. Yeah,
I'm saying for today's current metrics versus that movie on its current day metrics, better movie. Just better movie. Better movie. That's my opinion.
Dude.
Right. Rob's got my back. Rob's got my back in the movie. He says Top Gun 2 is a much better movie.
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm not saying it was a bad movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I just feel like it could have been better, and I feel like they marketed it better. And here's my biggest complaint about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They've been done shooting for how long? They've had this thing in post for like fucking
3 years.
4 years.
3-4 years, yeah.
It should have been fucking flawless. They should have pulled that garbage out. Telling you, dude, I'm just saying, like, I'm grading it harder because they've had more time to work on it.
I agree.
They've had all this time to perfect it, and they're just like, fuck, good enough. They'll like it.
Hey, Todd says,
you know what I mean? And
Todd says my
that's why
taste in movies is ass. And that's fine. That might be. If you think it's not a good movie, yeah, go ahead, put it in the chats.
I'm not saying it was a bad movie, but I'm just saying it's like not as good as it could have been.
Well, I mean, a lot.
It's not as good as it should have been.
Everything.
They've been promising us this delectable treat of a movie.
I think,
and they put too much salt in it.
Personally, I think the hype was justified. I think they were obviously, again, not a perfect movie, but I think it was not overhyped. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, they leaned heavily on the nostalgia of it, sure, right? But I don't think it was overhyped. Not in the least. Overhyped movie. I'm trying to think, what was the last movie that I could say was like truly overhyped? God, Morbius. I don't think overhyped was the word for that movie. That was just,
if they had more than one fucking trailer for Morbius, it was overhyped.
If it was more than a Facebook ad, it was overhyped.
They shouldn't even have sponsored that shit. Just post it to your page, son. Don't even.
Oh man.
But I mean, but genuinely, and I'm not saying it was a bad movie, dude. I'm just saying, like, I feel like it could have been better and should have been better, and I feel like they had plenty of time to perfect it, and they didn't.
All right, that's why I'm so mad. Let's hear what I want to hear. Todd out here. Todd, I got you. It's not a bad movie, but it's not as good as the original. It's a polished meh experience where the original was the archetypical hero's journey with a BS love story, total bro action flick, TG2, just living off the success of the original.
Yep.
I mean, some of those points might be valid. And fair. And
I'm going to disagree with Keith on this one. He says the ticket numbers speak for themselves at the end of the day. They don't, though. They don't.
Here's the thing.
And this is where
I want to agree with him. I want to, because I want to be right.
What else? If you were going to go to the movies this weekend, what else were you going to see? Doctor Strange for the 5th time?
No.
You know what I mean? Are you going to watch something else that's kind of Lightyear? But if I'm taking my wife on a date, I'm not going to go watch a kid's movie.
You would take her to Jurassic Park World Dominion.
No,
Jurassic World Dominion.
That sounds so dumb. That sounds dumb as fuck. I'd rather take her to a Fast and Furious movie. Maybe there's another snakes on a plane or some shit.
Sharknado 17's out, I think.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, but I'm just saying, like, so it's not like it's pre-Rona where they just had a million fucking. I mean, they're getting better. We're getting some variety in the theaters again. But I haven't seen anything like. it kind of like we have one or two a movie come out once every 2-3 weeks. It takes some money, and then the next release comes out, and there's some filler shit,
Yeah.
but it's just not.
If not for imagine take out all the Disney movies that have released, like from Milan. So that means all the Disney, so like the Milans, all the Star Wars, all the Marvel, all the like Disney Pixar, so Lightyear, Turning Red, like there's been like 5 movies that have released. If you take out all the Disney slate of things and a couple of DC properties, but we're still waiting on a bunch. But it is what it is.
I feel like if that movie would have released a couple years ago, I feel like it maybe I wouldn't have been so hard on it. But I'm just saying, like, and we said this from the very beginning of coronavirus and the very shutdown of all this. They have the opportunity to perfect these movies. Those movies that were sitting for release, they had the option to perfect them. Maybe if they would have dropped it as soon as Rona ended. If they would have dropped that like when Black Widow first came out, or when, you know what I mean? Something like that, where they were just like, we're waiting for it to be okay to fucking be physically responsible to put people back in theaters. But no, dude, they saved that shit. They held on to that. They got to have some fucking dudes in the back scribbling some shit down like, man, this is bullshit. We got to erase this. All right, tight. Let's make it better. They didn't.
At the end of the day, we are going to agree to disagree.
I agree with it's a rant. It's a radar rant twice on your screen over here. I'm right. Radar rant approved.
All right, we'll take that right off. So no, Todd said that's why I tend to hate sequels. I want to see new stories. Valid, fair point. A few pieces of nostalgia subtly is great, but rehashing the same story is disinteresting. I would have preferred a new pilot story with just a cameo. Here's the thing. I agree with you. A whole new chapter with just a dash of the old is the way to go.
Yep.
But
especially with this amount of time that's left. But there ain't nobody in the fucking Navy for like 50 fucking years, dude. Sorry about it.
Tom Cruise is Top Gun. Top Gun is Tom Cruise.
No,
like Tom there's Cruise no.
He could have been like the admiral who didn't do shit. Like that behind, like swung a cigar. Hey man, I'm Tom Cruise.
I'm just saying, there's no way Tom Cruise allows a Top Gun movie without him being the main character. I'm not saying it's what serves the best story. That's two separate things. That's what I'm saying.
Fuck Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Fuck Tom Cruise. Sometimes you just got to know when to step back.
So there was a thing where when Mission Impossible,
classic ass face and fucking bullshit.
Well, I guess we're never getting Tom Cruise on here. There was a time, remember when Mission Impossible was like regaining popularity. The second one, they brought in Jeremy Renner, and a lot of the talk was that Renner was going to replace Tom Cruise as part of as like the main guy for Mission Impossible. And after 2 movies, they wrote him out. And I guarantee you that's Tom Cruise going like, no, I am the guy, and if it's not me, it's gonna be nobody. So anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, Mr. Radar, you want to give me one? Sorry about it.
Sorry about it.
There it is. That's how we're gonna end that.
No, I ain't sorry about shit. I ain't sorry about a goddamn thing.
I don't have that button. I don't have that graphic ready. Okay, we have come to another end of an amazing episode of Pop Culture Warrior. This has been a tremendous amount of fun. You guys are awesome. Mr. Radar, stop your huffing and puffing. Stop. You look like my 5-year-old over there. Can you tell the fine folks at home what a typical week here at WTF Nation Radio is like?
Well, a typical week. You've been listening to Pop Culture Warrior with him, CQ, and me, Pissed Off Radar. Tomorrow night, it's a Don's day of day no scheduled activities. Wednesdays are a night off, babe. We're going to church. Maybe. Probably not. Let's be honest. Now, Thursday, swords time. Spanky and Ice sergeanting. Telling all the big Army stories. National Guard, Reserve, retirees, all that stuff. Talking about the Army and all the Army things. Right? Friday night freedom. Friday night freedom with Cause. Pookie. Talking about all kinds of crazy shit. They scope the internets for crazy stories, and they bring them to you because they love you. They want you to know these things. Now, Saturday and Sunday, dawn's the days. Day of no scheduled activities. We don't do shit. It's the weekend. We're gonna go fucking, I don't know. I'm putting siding on my house or some shit. Okay. Anyway, on Monday, the aptly named Monday edition. You know what we're not doing this weekend though? We're not watching Top Gun because it fucking sucks. Now, Monday, the Monday edition with Ice. Current events and stuff. They're hanging out. Good stuff. Coming around Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, with him, CQ, me, Radar, Pop Culture Warrior. Be here. It's great.
Very nice. And for those that don't know, we got some new shows coming. We're very, very excited.
Yes.
Very excited to be bringing our new shows. First, hitting the airwaves very soon will be our Sunday night show, The Sports Bar, with our host. If you were watching last night's Monday edition, the co-host last night was the future host of The Sports Bar, Mr. Joe, Big Joe, code name to be revealed later, I guess. I don't know. We're calling him Joe for now. And
BJ.
then BJ.
Big Joe.
No, we're not going with BJ's.
BJ.
We're not going with BJ's.
I love it. I'm calling him that from now on.
You call him for a BJ. I mean for BJ. And then very soon, as soon as he gets off his high horse and thinking his movie idea is better than anybody else's, we got our boy Radar here, who's gonna be leaving the nest, leaving the bubble very soon, or maybe not. He'll be leaving the bubble and starting his show, the new Wednesday night show, The Smoke Pit, where you guys will be able to smoking and joking and do all that slap assery, grab assery things you guys do. I would have called it the Sham Shield. You know,
I thought about it.
E4 Mafia.
I thought about it. The Sham Shield was actually on there. It was on our list.
It
But
sure
Smoke
was.
Pit, man, because you got, man, I
Hey.
didn't retire. I didn't retire a specialist, so I couldn't pull the Mafia thing off. But it's gonna be fun, dude. That's gonna be a fun show. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be. We're gonna be talking about all kinds of dumb shit.
I can't wait.
great.
I will definitely be tuning in. I'll get to sit in
You're
and
gonna
make the
have to. You're gonna teach me
snarky.
how to run all these fucking
Yeah,
buttons and
I'll make all
bullshit.
the snarky comments and fucking putting shit in the stupid
Man,
radar and
the first show is titled Tom Cruise Sucks, and so
fair enough.
he might be a guest on your show, but he ain't never fuck coming on mine.
The only thing that's been holding him back is radar. That's the only thing. Once I get rid of radar, we'll get Tom Cruise.
Absolutely. Tom Cruise's people listen to the show every week,
Yeah.
and they're
They're just
like, "Yep,
biding
when
their
that
time.
fucking
Buying their time.
when the fat bald guy leaves, then we'll go on the show."
The fat bald guy leaves. There won't be a show. Oh, you were talking about you. I was thinking about me. Anyway, so lots more stuff coming up. We're very excited. Lots of changes here at the studio. You know, if you want to toss your hat in the ring, be a co-host, you know,
You should have said. I should have fucking pulled that shit up.
we're always looking for more co-hosts. If you're a social media guy, we're always looking for more people to manage the pages. If you're a graphics designer, if you got a skill and you want to share it with WTF Nation Radio, we'd love to see it. We'd love to have it. We're always looking for more people to come on board. You want to do a show? You think you can do this better than me?
You can do it better than Radar. I
Fucking
promise you that.
come on. Bring it. All you need is a webcam and a mic. And
Well, a computer would help too.
not really. I guess really all you need is a computer, and then the rest works itself out. But
Well, I mean, a webcam and a mic is helpful.
it's helpful. It's nice to have.
And maybe some cans, some sweet cans.
Yeah. I prefer
Turn
the
my
in-ear.
headphones up.
I
Anyway.
prefer the in-ear stuff. Anyway,
I can't stand those, dude.
you gotta
Too
get
much
the
sawdust in my
comfortable.
ears.
You gotta get the comfortable ones.
They get too much sawdust in my ears at work.
Clean your
Earwax and
ears.
shit.
I don't know if I can
Well,
tell you.
plus, this
Clean
helps
your
with the tinnitus
Yeah.
or tinnitus, whatever the ringing in
The
my ear.
tennises.
The tennis. I have tennis ear.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Anyway, guys, it's been an absolute blast. I've had so much fun. There's no guest to talk about quite yet. We're circling some folks. We got some surprises coming on. I got a couple people. We're just circling dates, figuring it out. I have a couple pre-recorded interviews. So worst case scenario, we'll have an interview next week. I just don't know if it's going to be live or recorded. And I can announce that we have someone coming on from Miss Marvel soon, next month. Someone from, which is perfect because the series will be ending. We can kind of talk about the series instead of a lot of vagaries. Keith wants to know, where do you apply? WTFnationradio.com.
Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Because is the website back up and we have all that shit?
It's still under construction, but it's up. But literally all you have to do is contact at WTFnationradio.com is the email. And you can just be like, hey, I do this really well. I think I could help out this way. Let me know. Because we used to have like an actual like apply thing. I don't know if the apply thing.
Yeah, I don't see that anymore.
Yeah, but it's contact at WTFnationradio.com. That's the email, and you can just submit yourself. I volunteer as tribute.
I bet you could probably email or send a message to the radio page too.
You could do that too. Yeah.
On like WTF Nation Radio on Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Just
and
any way you can get us. We all get it.
And if you send a picture, an Audi picture, make sure you address it to CQ, so he gets it.
Yes, in loving care of CQ. Just a dog's
If you have a
butthole.
Picture of a cake, you send that to me.
I had a buddy of mine who would just text me picture, like close-ups, every time his dog took a shit. Like,
Wow.
he just loved tormenting me. He knew it bugged me to no end, and so would literally just text me pictures of his dog's butthole. That's the kind of friends I keep.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, don't go to the website because I can't. I'm not very good with this thing.
Anyway. Yeah, so we got lots more people coming up soon, lots more stuff. There's gonna be more conventions. I'm so excited. Next month I got a convention, and then a couple months after that I got a convention. We're gonna be doing some traveling. I just realized there won't be a show next week. I'm on vacation. I'm gonna be at the beach.
Oh yeah, that you're on vacation next week.
I'm at the beach next week. So
Yeah.
there won't be a show next week, but the
No show
following
next
week. Following week.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
Radar could take the reins. He can be the Radar show.
Oh, could be the Radar show.
Yeah, man.
Then Tom Cruise would never come out.
All right. We're going to call
All
it
right,
a
buddy.
night. This has been a fun one, guys. Thank you for tuning in. And we won't see you next week, but we'll definitely see you the week after that. And keep an eye on the Facebook page, not just the WTF Nation Radio, but the pop culture one. Lots of
and
put up a lot of
and
content.
send us if you want to try this job out. Send us some shit.
Yeah, send up some shit, man. Show us what you can do, and we'll light it up. All right, everybody. It's been real. Be good. Say goodnight, Radar.
Night, Radar.
Shuts.